Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom lovers. You know what, Ken?
What, Vic?
Yesterday and today, I have had 2 full cups of coffee before I've started the show.
Wow.
That's all thanks to Sally Bowles, who, when she's got to go out, when a puppy's got to go out, they got to go out.
Right.
So I was up really early yesterday and today, which offered me the chance to have 2 cups of coffee. And I was really up yesterday, and I'm really up today, baby.
That's awesome.
So you all better keep up.
Keep up.
Keep up.
Mister.
Mister. Nick Schroer, state senator, is going to join us in just a second here. We almost got stiffed by Nick for a deer. We'll talk about that in a minute. Play me some Biden coming up at 9:25. Dr. Randy Tobler joins us at 10:05 today. Ken, some lady had the flu and then lost her hands and her feet or her arms and her legs or something like that.
Yeah, I'm really interested to find out
How
about
does the
that.
flu does that?
Well, yeah.
Do that.
Okay.
How does it does
The
that?
flu.
And Drew Thomas Allen, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court Code of Conduct, whatever the hell that is. The Supreme Court was just fine until the left started losing all kinds of decisions.
Right.
So they're big babies, and when they don't get their way, they bitch and moan and cry till they do get their way.
No, that's the way the whole deep state works.
You're right.
I mean, if they don't get their way, then they try to, arrest you or
right.
have you put in jail for being an opponent. Stuff like that.
Right. Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance and get going here today, Kat. And who leads us today in the... Ow, I'm sorry, my back still hurts. Who leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance today?
I want to explain.
Oh.
I want this person today because, well, it's my daughter.
Aw.
And she left me a message.
Abadoo?
Yeah.
Okay, go Abadoo.
Hi, this is Abby Williams, Ken Williams' daughter,
we get it.
and I go to Missouri S&T. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Way to go, Abadoo.
So proud of her.
All
She's
right.
in her second year there, and she's working really, really hard. She got about 3.4 GPA, and I'm just so proud of her.
Love her. Absolutely love her. Okay, first sip. Here we go. It's a good cup of coffee. DiscountCoffee.com has your favorite coffee waiting for you. All you have to do is go to DiscountCoffee.com, and you can get your favorite coffee delivered right to your home or office. All you have to do is put Trump in the promo code for 25% off your first order. DiscountCoffee.com.
Oh. I thought you were...
This means you play.
Oh, I
something.
get it. Okay.
Yeah. The hell.
He's known by many names.
We, the people are in charge. Once we put the people back in charge, we're going to save our republic.
Nikki Two Shows. Schroer the Thrower. Twitter trolls love to hate him.
We love Vic Porcelli so much.
He's Nick Schroer, Missouri State Senator.
Good morning, State Senator. How are you?
Man, I'm tired, boys.
Are you?
I've been hunting, and I know you talked about your back aching. How about grabbing and bear hugging a deer to get in 200+ pound deer to get into the back of a truck? I'm hurting today.
Wow. All right. Well, get some Advil. Get that going. I had my 2 cups of coffee, so I'm good. So, Nick, I waited for you for this because I wanted to say happy birthday,
Thank you.
to the world's greatest producer, Ken Williams.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday, Ken.
Hey, thanks, Nick.
His favorite pecan
I love
pie.
that studio audience.
Oh, man, they're the best.
Great, aren't they?
Michelle made some. That looks like homemade, like Michelle made
Yes, it's amazing.
Pecan pie, and that's Ken's favorite because he's a spoiled brat. So He gets what he wants on his birthday.
So today is Ken's birthday.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Actually, it really
That's
is.
amazing.
Not in Secretary of State terms, in real terms.
Right.
It's actually
in real life.
Ken's birthday.
Yeah, and I just want to say real quick, my daughter Madison's home. She's a national park ranger. Just so happens she's home. She gave me a hug this morning, and my other daughter Abby, that you just heard, she just sent me a text saying happy birthday. So that's my birthday present.
On my birthday, my kids say, "What? You're still alive? What the hell?"
We're going to be celebrating my 6-year-old's birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday to all those cool Scorpios that are November birthdays.
Can we use the girls tomorrow for the pledge? The Schroer girls?
Absolutely.
For the pledge? All right. So Nick, I want to. Sometimes people on the left talk so ridiculously, and people believe it. I guess I don't know. Somebody named Jonathan Ramsey put on Twitter yesterday. I say Twitter because I still say Riverport. He says we're taking back America is way worse than From the River to the Sea.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that guy, he looks like he's one of the members of the Allman Brothers. And then you go to his website, and he's actually a musician, just not a very successful one.
Right.
And I think it's because having his head up his rear and believing things like what you just said, because from the river to the sea, Palestine must be free. That's calling for the eradication of all Jews from Israel, literally murdering all Jews. There's a long history detailing what that chant means. And to say that putting America first, putting our priorities first, our people first, as you've got veterans committing suicide in mass numbers each day, you have 60+% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Prioritizing America first and putting our people first is worse than murdering Jews in a genocidal manner. Right. What world do they live in?
They just don't know the history, and they get caught up in whatever they hear their cool friends say, and they really don't understand the history, So I don't know if I even want to bring this up. I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday, and I said, well, the Palestinians, they elected Hamas. And she goes, Hamas wasn't elected. I said, yes, they were. I mean, let's start from the beginning to know what you're talking about if you want to talk to me about something. You know what I'm saying, Nick? They fall into that, I got to be with the hip crowd, the in crowd line.
Well, I think, that's a massive problem. And we've talked about this every Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m. on Stand and Fight. The issues of fake news, what Donald Trump conveyed when he ran for office. He put a microscope on a very important issue, and a lot of people say, oh, it's just the news. The news is what riles people up, especially if you're lying to them, saying that legislators are out there burning books and 30 million people see it, later getting told, no, that's not what happened. And exactly what we saw in the Gaza Strip when a hospital was hit by Hamas missiles. Automatically, you had the news coming out saying, it was Israel. They're killing babies. They're killing the poor and the sick. And then you come to find out after doing a little bit more research that that's not the case whatsoever. It was actually the terrorists that don't know what the hell they're doing. And just like history, this is why it is so important to fight to preserve reading, writing, arithmetic, an unbiased teaching of our history, because you do have knuckleheads out there that are repeating it. Look back at World War II. My biggest question to my grandpa, who went away to World War II, is, look, why didn't more people stop this? Why didn't more people see this attack on the Jews? Why didn't they do something about it? Why didn't they fight to have the Second Amendment restored to these Jewish families in Germany and in Europe? And they didn't have social media. They didn't have the access that we do to world news back then. As of right now, we can see videos happening live streaming on social media of how horrific, people hunting down Jews and attacking them and smashing them in the head with a megaphone and murdering them on the streets of America.
Nick,
why the hell aren't we standing up?
And you know what, Nick? Vic said that the very first day. He said this would, back then, the same thing happened in the 30s and early 40s, and no one said anything. And we've got the internet now. We've got social media now. We need to be speaking up solidly and as one voice. And that's the problem, is people back then didn't have that one voice, that unifying voice, so they stayed quiet. Now we can get loud.
Yeah, we can.
Well, Ken, it's also important to stamp out the mistruths and the lies, because just like Vic was saying in these conversations with some of these people, I don't know where they're getting their education, if they're just making it up or if they're watching MSNBC or the DNC, because what they're reciting is not historically accurate. So it's just as important to correct those wrongs and stamp out those flames of lies that the left is pushing.
I've said this a few times, probably more than a few times, Nick, but do you know what the first thing was they took away from the Jews in the 1930s and 40s? First thing they took away, do you know what it was?
Was it their guns?
It was their radios.
Mm.
So they had no information, right? Because maybe the Jews would have fought back if they said, wait a minute, they're taking all these Jews and rounding them up. We gotta start building up a militia of some kind.
And what are they trying to do right now? Mis and disinformation and censor us on social media, Nick.
Exactly.
Well, keep your eyes peeled, because I saw something at the end of last week. We didn't cover it on the show. We're going to cover it this Sunday. Is you always have to question what the media is putting out there. One of the things they're putting out there, and this is to your point, Vic, taking away communication, taking away the internet. Now there are rumors that there's, and put your conspiracy, your tinfoil hat on, there are conspiracy theories that the solar flare warning that Fox News even said can wipe out your internet for days, weeks, or months. Is that real? What's going to happen there? And we're going to dive deep into that and see if there's any truth to the solar flares. Should we be prepared? Or is this another thing coming from the government planning either attack from abroad or just shutting us down so we can't hear what other people are saying about these attacks in Israel?
It's brilliant.
Like around the election time, you think?
Well, no, now. So with the Jews and the Israel and all that stuff.
All
no,
right.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's not on the internet. Oh, nobody's got internet. Yeah, it's because nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right, so I want to get on the ceasefire thing a little bit because our time goes so quick, Nick. The ceasefire thing, right? They're calling for a ceasefire. And I thought the best example of that would have been after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Were people going to call for a ceasefire? But the Babylon Bee has gone even further back, and they say Cain calls for ceasefire after killing Abel.
It makes no sense. Again, what world are we living in where you cannot retaliate to defend yourself and to deter anything like that from happening again? Look at what Donald Trump did when they attacked our military members. We, dropped the Moab on them and said, try it again. We've got a bigger and better bomb.
Yep.
Scared the crap out of these terrorists because they knew he was capable of doing it.
And he would do it.
And he did do it.
And he would do it. And you've got people like Cori Bush, who is concentrating more on a country, tons of miles away from her, while people are being murdered in her district. And we're trying to bring in illegal immigrants that have not been vetted into her district. Where are the priorities here? And for a ceasefire, which would result if Israel would put up their guns today and say, okay, guys, don't do it again. I know you murdered hundreds of our innocent children at a party like cowards. Don't do it again. Well, what's going to happen? They're going to do it again. So if we don't stand up and remove these people from the equation, they're just going to do it again and put their lives in danger. And ultimately, these terror groups that are funded by other bigger, badder countries, they're saying, okay, if America gets involved, we're coming after you. We need to stop evil. The only way you do it is peace through strength.
Yep. All right, let's switch gears here in the last couple of minutes. The House had the chance to vote for impeachment for Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, and it didn't go through. Nick, we're not united as Republicans in the House or the Senate, and we're never going to get anything done until we are.
We're seeing that too. Excuse me. We're seeing that too in Missouri House and Missouri Senate. Well, with what's happening abroad. And I've always said, look, we're a party of policy, not a party of politics or, patty cake, like the Democrats. And I always go back to Pelosi saying, yeah, I got no clue what's in this Obamacare bill. We'll find out once we pass it. They are stuck together in this team mentality. And, it's got its pros and cons. But, Republicans, we're more a party of policy for our people that we represent. Unfortunately, the higher that you get into the swamp, the higher that you get into Jeff City or even D.C., you see more of what the Democrats have been doing is trying to appease the lobbyists, appease the third parties, and we're forgetting about the people back at home. Again, I think the same mentality, the peace through strength, the same mentality how we bring our nation back together and our world back together is how we bring the Republican Party back together. It took some strong men and women to found this nation. It took some strong men and women to go against the grain and found the Republican Party to say, yeah, this racist, an inhumane thing called slavery, we got to stand up against that and fight. We still need to do that same thing and remind people what's so important in the Republican Party. And it's going to take some ass kicking from the top down. Yep. And look what's happening in Arkansas. Sarah Huckabee Sanders came in there, iron fist, and is actually doing what the people want to do. And it's brought the party back together. We need that in our next governor. We need that in our next legislative leaders going into next session.
We need that now in Missouri and nationally, Nick. I mean, we can't just go on like this.
Yeah.
When Mayorkas says we inherited a broken immigration system, you got every time they speak, you have to think about what they're saying. To them, it was a broken immigration system because they weren't letting people in.
Yeah, and now, like you've seen, St. Charles County Council Joe Brazel, a good friend of mine, he's teamed up with Senator Eigel and I because we're going to try to attack some things legislatively next session. He's doing it on the county basis, and you've got people flipping out because he's pointing out that all of these states, 20 plus states, including Missouri, has sued Mayorkas, has sued Border Patrol, and has sued the federal government because of what they're doing. They're using this parole, not like when you get out of prison. It's a parole program established by the department, which is allowing these illegal immigrants to come in to work and then just cause chaos in some instances. These states and the attorney generals have come out saying, Mayorkas, you are not obeying the law. You're creating this thing out of thin air to bring more illegals in here. And now they're trying to shift them over from Chicago into St. Louis. Yep. We already know St. Louis is on the verge of collapse. That is going to be the nail in the coffin for St. Louis. And that crime, that chaos, that unknown of these military-aged men that are in our country now that will be in the city of St. Louis, how is that going to impact you in St. Louis County, in St. Charles County, in Lincoln County, and so on? We need to step up and say, look, enough is enough. This is harming our people too much.
Yeah. All right, Nick. So are we going to get a visit or what?
Yeah, you're going to get a visit, hopefully here soon, with some new deer meat. I just dropped it off. Got to go back to work for these meetings. We've got some interim committee hearings. And little birdie told me that here in the next couple of weeks, you guys are going to have a new studio.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a lot closer to me. We'll bring in Rick Pogue, bring some Johnny's Hideout chicken wings, which are the best. I don't know how they'll taste at 9 and 10 a.m. in the morning, but they'll probably be the best ones you've ever had.
Hey, Nick, do you ever process any sausage with that deer meat?
Yeah, so the place that I go to in Wright City, and you're going to have people hating on me because I don't go to a different one. They actually have chorizo, and it's a chorizo Mexican sausage that is incredible. But yeah, we do a lot of the summer sausages. You've got your regular ones, some that have jalapeno in them, some that have pepper jack cheese. And the girls, you mentioned your daughter earlier today. My girls were the ones that said, Daddy, we ran out of deer sausage. Can you go get more?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I love those girls.
Yeah.
All right. At Nick B. Schroer, Stand and Fight, Sunday nights, 8 to 10. Nick, thank you so much.
God bless you, boys. Have a great week.
Hey, God bless you, Nick.
God bless you back, Nick Schroer. All right. Tuesday is what it is. Drew Thomas Allen Day. That's at the end of the show. We're going to let him go a little wild on the Supreme Court Code of Conduct. Dr. Randy Tobler hopefully will answer some questions for us today about how you lose your hands and your feet when you get the flu.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Play me some Biden coming up next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com.
You're listening to Vic Porcelli on News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 101.9. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack? A stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886. Or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at NewstalkSTL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Now go home and get your shine box.
On Newstalk STL.
Oh, welcome home to 1019 and 94.1 Newstalk STL. Sorry, I just got thrown off there by a big old happy birthday to Ken from Stoit, Ed Stoit.
Thanks, Ed Stoit.
He should be a spy, right? Like James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
Stoit. Ed Stoit.
Yes.
Yes. I'll take a martini, shaken, not stirred. Okay. Ken, I think I have admitted more than once that I'm still learning about a lot of stuff here.
Sure. I think we all are, Vic.
Yeah, I guess we are. We're in weird times. You're right. We're in weird times, and we have to learn, not I don't want to say the rules, but the rules they're trying to push on us from the left about this code of conduct for the Supreme Court. I mean, really? Maybe, I don't know. I don't understand it. I'll tell you flat out, transparent, I don't understand it.
Yeah, we'll need to cover that today, but also cover that with Tim Jones, too.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, Drew Thomas Allen has written about just that in his book, which is now in stores or online or wherever you buy books. So we'll have him explain it to us.
So there's a reason why they're not elected, number one. And when you have a code of conduct, in a way that's saying, well, if you don't do what we say or do it the right way,
that's exactly it.
Then you're not going to be a Supreme Court justice. Isn't that how you were elected?
Because they didn't get their way in some decisions, right?
Right.
So now it's like we got to change things. So then, well after I'm dead, when the Supreme Court turns around, there may be more liberals than conservatives on the Supreme Court. Do we say, hey, we want a code? We're not getting our way now.
That's right.
And it all happened from Roe v. Wade. That's the whole thing. We were not prepared, okay? We had 50 years to prepare what the left was going to say if Roe v. Wade ever got overturned. No, it'll never get overturned. And guess what? It got overturned, and we lost an election because of it.
Yep.
So I don't know. Why can't Republicans get their act together? I just don't understand.
I think that end of it is more of the RNC type of situation, the setup there, and we know there are problems in there.
There are big problems in there. So anyway, that'll be Drew Thomas Allen talking to us about this. Some lady lost her hands and her feet or her arms and her legs because of the flu. Wow, that's one bad case of the flu. Holy cow. So Dr. Tobler hopefully will have some answers for us about that, and there's another weird health story I want to ask him about. But right now, it's time for Play Me Some Biden. Look out, Joe, look out! What have we done, honestly, electing this guy? What have we done?
I don't know.
All right, this is the perfect time to bring up something that I saw on Twitter last night, and I really got a funny, I just laughed about this. So, so did Donald Trump actually tweet this, or is this, hold on, I'm going to screw this up. Donald Trump News. Okay, so Donald J. Trump News said, you ready? Biden supporters say they will leave the United States if Donald Trump is elected in 2024. So Ken replied, and he said, yay? But here's the funny thing about this, Ken. They're not really for Joe Biden. They're just against Donald Trump.
Right.
It doesn't say that they'll leave the country if Joe Biden doesn't get elected.
Right.
They said that they'll leave if Donald Trump is elected. And they're all holding their Biden-Harris signs. Really?
That's why, Vic, I'm sorry, but that's why I firmly believe that TDS is an actual disease.
It is. But now it went from something funny to something that's an actual disease to now it's a disease that's a cancer that's eating away at the country. And we got to do something about it.
Good point.
So how about we make fun of the president? That's
Let's
a good
do
idea,
that.
right? All right, Ken, play me some Biden.
The state of Israel was born to be a safe place for the Jewish people of the world. That's why I was born.
I just want you to stop saying odd like you smell a psychosphere or you're in someone's faded memory of a town. Just stop.
That's Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
No. Is he what?
I don't know. Oh, he was actually in a movie. That was just a
Okay. So I'm sorry. Can you play the Biden part again? Because this guy, he's past dementia now. It's something past dementia. Go.
The state of Israel was born to be a safe place for the Jewish people of the world. That's why I was born.
Stop. So now he was born in Israel, a poor black child raised by Puerto Ricans who were in Israel at the time and hung out with all the Irish and the Greek, and I guess that's it. That's his family history. Did he?
That's why I was born.
Did he really say he was born in Israel?
Well, you just heard it.
Do it again. I want you to listen to this.
That's why I was born.
No, play the whole thing.
Oh.
Just him.
The state of Israel was born to be a safe place for the Jewish people of the world. That's why I was born.
Okay, that's enough of that.
He said that.
Ken, what is it? There's something. Maybe we'll ask Randy Tobler about that too.
I think it's the ultimate narcissist, and he has to insert himself into every single issue, topic, anything that he says. He has to put himself there, and it's a lie. It's he wasn't born in Israel,
right? So what do the people in Scranton or wherever the hell he says he was born?
What do they say?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And wait a minute, honey, do we live in Israel? No, we're in Scranton. Well, Joe said he was born in Israel. Said he was born here. All right, you got another one?
Yeah, this is Biden talking about Mark Stone, the captain of the Vegas Golden Knights, okay?
Ken?
Because they're visiting there.
Play me some Biden.
I had a coach used to always say, Tubby Ramey said, now, just get up. Get up. This guy gets up and goes, man.
That's putting himself in there again.
What was that? Who was that?
He's talking to the Golden Knights, which is a hockey team.
When was this?
This was just yesterday, or I think.
Because yesterday I thought the WNBA champs were at the White House yesterday.
I don't know. This says Golden
Who?
Knights.
What? What?
What? What are they?
What is that again? Oh my God. So he made some crazy divorce joke yesterday. Did you catch that? The WNBA champs were at the White House, and he started talking about how the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, right?
Right.
And the Golden Knights moved to Las Vegas, actually won the Stanley Cup. And then he goes, if they take the Philadelphia Eagles, my wife will divorce me. Because she's a big Eagles fan.
Well, I think I actually had the cut coming up.
Now?
Yeah, where...
Sorry, Ken.
No, that's okay.
Vic Thunderstick.
But yeah, really. But the way he's saying it, though, is it's like it's so out of position to what he's talking about. He's talking about to the Golden Knights. He's saying, now make sure you don't let the Eagles leave. It's like, what?
Go ahead. Play me some Biden.
Thank you. And as we met outside, as you got out of your automobile, we had a very important discussion on climate. The
Dan
president said, I'm cold.
ketika Bapak baru datang dan menyambut
This is
Bapak
the
di
Indonesian
mobil,
president that he's
ketika
visiting
Bapak
with.
keluar, kita sudah ada berbicara mengenai topik penting sekali dalam iklim, di mana Bapak mengatakan, saya ini merasa dingin.
It's almost over.
No. Take care of that immediately.
He said he'll take care of that immediately.
I'm sorry, I should have shut up. Go back 10 seconds. I'm sorry. God.
No, he's just saying.
Di mana Bapak mengatakan, saya ini merasa dingin.
Told him I could take care of that immediately.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
So here's the thing, okay? I understood the Indonesian president more than I understand him when he's trying to speak English.
Yes, I know.
So he just spoke in Indonesian. Yep, I'll take care of that. Next. What
Yeah.
else can I do for you?
Yeah, he was talking about. He said, "Well, he said I'm cold," and he said, "I'll take care of it." They were having in context. They were having an important climate change meeting, and he said, "Well, I'm cold," and he said, "Well, I'll take care of that."
You know what this reminds me of for some reason?
What?
Do you remember of course everybody remembers the Seinfeld episode with the pirate shirt, the puffy shirt. Remember the puffy shirt episode?
Oh yeah.
It had puffs everywhere. And Jerry was going to do a appearance on, like Jay Leno or something like that. And the lady, this is the low talker, the soft talker, whatever they call her. So she goes, yeah, okay. What she's asking, will you wear the puffy shirt on the show? So he agreed to wear the puffy shirt, and he didn't even understand the question because he couldn't hear her. All right.
So,
yeah.
No, this one here, I know you're going to have me play some Biden, but I got to read it because it's out of context. Can we do that?
Yeah, it's your show.
No, it's not. Okay, so this reporter says, have you urged Israel to take away any specific precautions, take any specific precautions on the hospital in Gaza?
All right, Ken, play me some Biden.
Have you urged Israel to take any specific precautions on the hospitals in Gaza?
Thank you very much.
The president's going to answer, guys.
The hospital in Gaza, Kelly was asked.
Have
That's
you
Jill.
expressed any specific concerns to Israel on that, sir?
Well, I have not been reluctant in expressing my concerns what's going on. And it's my hope and expectation that there will be less intrusive action relative to the hospital. We're in contact and we're with the Israelis. Also, there's an effort to take this pause to deal with the release of prisoners. And that's being negotiated as well with the Qataris are engaged. And so I remain somewhat hopeful. But the hospital must be protected.
Wow.
And any
So the hospital, aren't they using that as like a headquarters, the hospital?
Underneath, yeah.
Hamas? Yeah. The tunnels. We talked about the tunnels. Guess what? Everything goes on under the tunnels. All the negotiations, all the planning on killing Jews happens in that tunnel under the hospital.
Right, and that's why they're bombing them. And Joe Biden didn't address that at all. But not only that, Vic, but you've got Jill Biden standing behind him trying to help him sort out what these reporters are saying. She says the hospital in Gaza. If you heard that, that's what she was saying.
Yeah, that's because, you know why she had to do that? Because the reporters weren't speaking Indonesian, because he clearly understands Indonesian.
Right.
And that's all the time we have for Play Me Some Biden. Oh, my God. I've never seen a more helpless man in my life, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I rely on my wife for a lot of stuff, you know? It's Tuesday. But I'm not as bad as that, you know? Where
No.
I have to be told a question. Well, could you repeat the question in Indonesian? Because apparently the president is fluent in Indonesian.
She's inserting herself, Jill, more every single day now.
She sure is. She sure is. I don't know, Ken, it's so simplistic and so elementary, but how did we get here? How did we get to the point where we hate a man so much who has done so much for this country in a positive way, and this is what they wanted, this idiot?
Because I don't think we were ready for what they were trying to do to Trump. And then by the time we became able to fight back, it was like already an onslaught. Yeah, yeah.
Late. Okay.
The message was already delivered.
All right. So we'll talk a little bit about the Israeli-Palestinian thing and how some people just don't understand what's going on. That's all next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Israel claims that Hamas no longer controls Gaza Strip, but the hunt continues for the Hamas terrorists.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
School choice is an idea whose time has come. It's flourishing in many states, just not in Missouri. Take charter schools, a great alternative for parents whose kids may be trapped in a failing school district. But charter schools are currently only available to families in just 3 of 520 school districts: Kansas City, the city of St. Louis, and Normandy. Open enrollment allows students to enroll in a district other than the one in which they live. It's important because rural schools may not offer all the advanced classes larger districts do. Open enrollment does exist in Missouri, but participation is highly restricted. And the Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA program, needs to be expanded so many more parents of students with disabilities and low-income students can access it. Charter schools, open enrollment, ESAs. If they're good for some children, they should be good for all children. Check out our 2023 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward, at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Do you live in St. Charles County? Then you can get Mid-Rivers News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. Mid-Rivers News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit midriversnewsmagazine.com/subscribe to get a copy delivered to your mailbox. Or you can pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnook stores. Mid-Rivers News Magazine. Anybody who wants it gets it. Anybody who gets it wants it. Subscribe for free today.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Hey, what are you going to do? Nice college boy, huh? Didn't want to get mixed up in the family business? Huh? Now you want to gun down a police captain, why, because he slapped you in the face a little bit? Huh? What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot him a mile away? You got to get up close like this, bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit. Come here. Mwah.
On News Talk STL.
I am struggling with people's moral equivalency still. I mean, Barack Obama, who has rarely disappointed me, did so this week. I mean, his statement, it's not a horrible statement, but he said, if you want to solve the problem, then you have to take in the whole truth, and then you have to admit nobody's hands are clean. Literally, that's true, of course. But just give you 2 examples where this is, I don't think, a helpful statement at this moment. First of all, the attack was only a month ago. A more savage attack than we've ever seen in reverse. There's a big difference between collateral damage and what Hamas did. Secondly, okay, the Israelis are now allowing a 4-hour pause for people to get out. I'm sorry, people say, oh, wow, big of them. Okay, but it is a war that the other side started. So interesting. When they fire at Israel, it's a war. When Israel fires back, it's a war crime. Little crazy. So, and also, would Hamas do that? Would they give 4-hour pause? No pausing. And then Israel's heritage minister was asked in an interview about using a nuke on Gaza. And he said that's one of the possibilities. He was fired, not allowed in the cabinet meeting anymore, disavowed by the prime minister. Would that happen in reverse? So enough with the moral equivalency.
Boy. Okay. You're not going to hear me say this too many times in life. Wow, do I agree with Bill Maher 100% on that one.
Yeah, I mean, the moral equivalency thing with Barack Obama. When Barack Obama came out with that statement, I was just like, see? I knew it all along.
Yep. And, you know, the thing, too, is that, and he brings up a great point. I hate to say that, too. But he said, would Hamas have a pause if they were, is Hamas going to pause while Israel is pausing? Probably not.
Oh no,
right?
That they're going to take full advantage of that.
That's like saying, okay, you got two boxers, but you know what? Let's blindfold this guy.
Yeah.
So he can't see. And I go back to Cain calls for ceasefire after killing Abel. You know, in the Bible, Cain killed Abel. And now he wants a ceasefire because he doesn't want to get killed.
And you know what Hamas is going to do if they said, oh well, yeah, we'll do a ceasefire, it's no problem. They'll up their game. They'll start decapitating more kids. They'll do all kinds of horrendous things. And I say that to get the shock effect. Yes, because we're sick and tired of what's going on, and people are just saying, oh no, they're protecting Palestine. No, they're not.
Yeah, we had Alan Dershowitz on last week, and he was great, and he was great friends with Barack Obama. Alan Dershowitz is a great big liberal.
Oh,
Don't mistake it,
right.
You know? But he is a constitutionalist, and he speaks from the Constitution. So that means if he thinks that Trump is being witch hunted, he's going from a constitutional point of view, not because he's great friends with Donald Trump or not because he's turned into a conservative, right?
Well, you've even talked with him, Vic, here on the show, and he said, I'm not a fan of Trump, but you know what? If you put these two different situations together, I'm not voting for Biden.
Right.
I'll vote for Trump.
Right.
Because he's a very strict constitutionalist, and he's also a humanist, Vic.
Go ahead.
So when he says something like this about Israel, he's talking not only from a constitutional perspective, but he's talking about as a human being.
A Jew.
Well, yeah.
He is Jewish.
Right.
Okay? So Israel means a lot to Alan Dershowitz. His old buddy, Barack Obama, what Bill Amar was talking about right there, there's no moral equivalency between Hamas and Israel. So, of course, Barack Obama, like you said, has to get on and, thinks he's making everybody happy. And now, how does Alan Dershowitz feel about Barack Obama?
No, you can't make those kinds of comparisons, Barack Obama. And I have to tell you, what you did is just despicable. It's beneath contempt. And whatever respect I had for you, I have absolutely lost. Fortunately, so have many other Americans lost respect for you. And I'm hoping that you have no influence on the current administration, future Democratic administrations, and that your lack of morality ends up in the dustbin of history where it belongs. And so I'm ashamed that I was your friend. I'm ashamed that I invited you to my birthday party. I'm ashamed that I accepted your invitation to the Oval Office. And I'm ashamed that I allowed you to fool me into thinking that you actually supported Israel. You do not. Nobody who has any love for Israel in their heart would ever make the kind of obscene, obnoxious comparison you made between murder, rape, kidnapping, burning of civilians, and a disputed occupation that could have ended over and over again if the Palestinians had only accepted the deals offered by President Clinton and by others in the American administration, not by you. You didn't do anything to help the peace process, but Clinton did, and Trump did, and others did, but not you. All you did was condemn Israel. Don't count on me and my support. You have been an enemy to justice, an enemy to Israel, an enemy to the Jewish people, and an enemy to decency. I'm embarrassed that I ever thought it as highly as you, as I obviously did. I was fooled by you. I'll never be fooled again.
That is Alan Dershowitz telling Barack Obama to go himself.
I don't know.
You don't have a thing for that, do you?
No.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Fair enough. So, listen, there is a pro-Israel demonstration happening today in Washington, D.C., on the mall there. And my first question is, why is it on a Tuesday? Why isn't it on a Saturday so more people can be there?
Or like I think Nick said, it's Sunday,
Oh, right. I forgot about Shabbat Shalom. So, Sunday.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, we'll see what happens. If there's going to be any disruptions, shall we say?
Yeah. Going back to Alan Dershowitz here, the next time you talk with him, I think we know how he feels. We obviously know how he feels about Barack Obama. I'd like to know what went through his mind the moment he heard Barack Obama make that statement, what he was feeling.
What he was doing at the time.
What he was doing at the time, and did he stop, and did he just
Did he spit out his coffee if he was drinking
something?
coffee?
What was going on at that
Great
moment?
Point. All right, so that's happening today, the pro-Israel demonstration. Yesterday, who were we talking to, Ken? I don't remember who we were talking to, but I said Remember I asked you about Bernie Goldberg? Remember Bernie Goldberg used to be on Bill O'Reilly's show all the time on the O'Reilly Factor?
Yeah.
And I talked about a book that Bernie Goldberg wrote called Bias that my next-door neighbor gave to me 20 years ago.
Yeah, who was that? It had to either be Ward Clark, Doug Blair, or Rob Bluey.
You're right. It's got to be one of those three. But I said, yeah, Bernie Goldberg wrote this book called Bias. Bernie worked at CBS for years and years. He saw the bias, and he wrote this book. So, first of all, two things we learned. First of all, Susie Moore is always listening to this show, so I appreciate that 1,000%. And then she tweeted yesterday, Bernie Goldberg's Bias played a... She always talks like this. She's so weird. I mean, we love her. Played a not insignificant role in my transition from liberal to conservative. I mean, she could have said Bias played a significant role.
Yeah.
But Susie, she's eloquent and she knows how to write. So her reading that book changed her from a liberal to a conservative.
Yeah.
That's how important that book is.
It's quite an endorsement.
It's a super endorsement. And let's not forget that Lara Logan, who we played some of her report yesterday on her show called The Rest of the Story, which is not on TV. You got to find it on Twitter. And I'm not saying she was a liberal, but like Bernie, she saw the bias because she worked at CBS.
Yeah.
Lara Logan used to work at CBS, and then she left. And then she shows up on Fox News. And now she's totally writing conservative stuff on Twitter, and her reporting is the same way. The Ray Epps thing we played yesterday.
Right.
So if you can find that book, if it's online, I would read it. It shows you exactly what's going on in the media today that we talk about all the time.
What I want to do is get that book and then get it ready to hand to someone to read who's on the fence or who's saying things that they just don't understand what they're saying. And from what I understand, it will clarify a lot of things happening that they didn't understand on the left.
Yep. I have it somewhere at home. I don't know. I read it and then I, put it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I hope I can find it and I'll give it to you, Ken. You can do that, okay?
I'll buy it. It's all right. But thank you.
I'm here to help, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Can we check the chat box, Ken? Because we owe this chat box a super-duper salute. Because they're always there for us, and we're not ignoring you, but just things get in the way. If Kenny and I are having a conversation and then something just grinds my gears, I start going and maybe go too far and neglect the chat box, and I apologize for that. So Barbara starts us off with GMVH. Speak up, America. Don't believe anything the press says.
Yay.
They are all communists. Trump won.
There you go. There you go.
Zena Hackworth is in the chat box today.
Hey, Zena.
Good morning, Vic, Ken, and fellow Vic heads. Tom says good Tuesday morning. And Zena says happy birthday to Ken. So happy birthday to Ken.
Thanks, Zena.
Happy Tuesday, ladies, gents, and gentle cats, and happy birthday to Ken, whatever. Oh, God. It's never going to end, is it? Amy, happy birthday, Ken. Linda, happy birthday, Ken. I'm here, too, It's not my birthday, but, You could say, happy birthday, Ken. Oh, and hi, Vic. Something like that would be okay. Righty, right. Good morning. Happy birthday, Ken.
Hey, Righty.
Sick of this already. Ed Stewart says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Good morning. Hi, Vic. Happy birthday, Ken. God.
Thank you.
Do not, well, this is interesting. Oh, my God, listen to Ed. He says, do not bring the Republican Party back together. Donald John Trump should start a new party. It would immediately have 80 million members. Oh, my God.
It would. See, that's the thing that I hope everybody understands. The people, especially the ones who have been MAGA, and then they're saying, all this stuff going on is really wearing me out. Stay strong, because we're all here.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, Ken, because you can't get yourself to the point where you say, oh, maybe they are right.
Because they're not.
They're not
From
right.
the jump, they're not.
They're not honest. They're not right. They're nothing to me now, just like Fredo. That's what they are. They're Fredo.
They're Fredo. Nothing.
Oh, happy 39th birthday to Ken. Ken, I didn't realize you were 39 today.
Thank you. I feel a lot better now.
You are full of
stuff.
All in man says happy birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday, Ken. May all your hamburgers be cooked and your pasta stick to the wall.
Love it.
Ed says, Vic, apology accepted. I didn't apologize to anybody.
You sure?
Oh, for not getting into the chat box.
Yeah.
Okay. Not for your birthday.
Right.
Whatever. You and your birthday. I'm done with it already. Gene, happy birthday, Ken.
Thanks, Gene.
I'm not coming in on your birthday anymore.
Aw.
No, I won't. Let me see when my birthday is next week. Damn it. See if it's a weekday. You know what? Yeah, happy birthday, Ken. Whatever. March, let me see. March 8th is a Friday.
It's a Friday.
All right. So not only Friday, but I want Tim Jones to do a special happy birthday.
Oh, maybe.
For me. For me.
For you.
Not for you. You're getting enough birthday attention here. And there's pecan pie out there for you.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait.
Boiled brat.
And then Sean Mullins on YouTube. Thanks, Sean.
Oh, thanks, Sean. I forget we were on YouTube.
He didn't say happy birthday. He just said good morning, Vic Heads.
Yeah,
I like
he
it.
will. Wait, check Twitter. Check Twitter. I'll bet he did. Check Twitter. Damn it.
Oh, he did.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it. All right. We got to get out of here and take 5 minutes out for news from townhall.com. And we'll be back with another hour starting off with Dr. Randy Tobler. You can hear him every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 right here on News Talk STL. And Drew Thomas Allen is going to fill us in on what the hell a code of conduct, like the Supreme Court needs a code of conduct.
Yeah.
What the hell? That's all coming up on hour number 2 on this Tuesday. News with Town Hall. And then we're back on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
How dare you!
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
April Haskins, Executive Director, Dogs for Our Brave.
Because they're mobility service dogs, they can go get medication bottles. They can pick up the phone. So essentially, when they are living with a family, the cool part is watching the wife or the husband or the kids go back to just being the family. Because now that dog is able to come in and truly provide services that the family's been tasked with.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. A multi-faith rally in support of Israel will be held in the National Mall here in Washington this afternoon. The gates opened a short time ago. Folks are already showing up. Organizers expect tens of thousands of people. Rabbi David Callender of Fairfax, Virginia, says people with different points of view will be uniting today.
It's got people from the far left, people from the far right who don't agree on much,
but they do agree certainly about anti-Semitism. They do agree about the inhumanity of the slaughter on October 7th and of the hostages who were trapped. And they believe that the state of Israel, a homeland for the Jews, should absolutely exist.
Susan Michael with the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem welcomes today's event.
We need to be heard. Our voice has been drowned out recently by pro-Hamas protests, if you can imagine. So it's time for us to show up on the National Mall by the thousands to make our voice known. And so that's what we will be doing, Jews and Christians standing together.
One of the rally's co-sponsors is the group American Christian Leaders for Israel. In the Middle East, Israeli forces have surrounded Gaza's main hospital, claiming it's being used by Hamas terrorists. Inflation slowed last month. The Labor Department said today lower gas prices helped cool overall inflation. Despite that Consumer Price Index report, inflationary pressures hurting Home Depot.
The home improvement retailer narrowed its fiscal 2023 outlook, but its quarterly performance came in above Wall Street's expectations. Home Depot said its third quarter revenue fell 3% to $37.71 billion. Still, it managed to beat the $37.52 billion that analysts surveyed by Zacks Investment Research predicted.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, and evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word FAITH to 989898 and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
Testimony.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Cool mornings and pleasant afternoons. That's the pattern through Thursday before a cold front brings us our next chance of rain and knocks these temps down just a little bit. Mostly sunny today, though, up to 66 for a nice afternoon high. Winds turning out of the south. Tonight, clear, cool, down to 40 in the city, but 30s in the burbs. Wednesday likely to be the warmest day of the week, up to about 71 tomorrow afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, welcome home and welcome back to 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's birthday boy over there or whatever. Ken's birthday today. Dr. Randy Tobler coming up in a bit. Drew Thomas Allen as well. Dave's on the phone. Whoosh, my brother, how many days till the end of the era?
Whoosh, my Vic head. Hey, 433 days remain until the end of the
Error. Okay. What's on your mind?
Error.
Besides happy birthday, Ken.
I wanted to say happy birthday, Ken.
What?
I had to call in to say happy birthday, Ken, but also to remind you 433 days until the end of the era.
Much more important than Ken's birthday.
So, well, yeah. Sadly, I have to admit that is true.
It is true.
But he's got pecan pie here, so he's happy.
Oh, hey, Ken, I'll be over in about 10 minutes. Okay?
All right, man. Come on over.
I'll be here.
All right, buddy.
I'll be here too.
Well, I'll see you too, Vic.
All right, whatever.
Pecan pie, Vic.
Not my birthday. Okay. Dave, thanks, man. Appreciate you. You know that.
Dave.
Yes, sir.
All right. I believe the doctor is in.
Good
don't know. We better have that looked at.
Randy Tobler.
You guys are ahead of the curve. You probably took your masks off a couple weeks before the CDC said it was okay.
Now, Dr. Randy Tobler.
What's up, Doc?
Good morning, Dr. Randy Tobler.
Good morning. How do we do? It's Ken's birthday, huh?
Oh, my God. Yes, it is. Do you want to come have a little pecan party with him, too?
Well, of course. I mean, come on now. Aren't you glad that Ken was birthed?
Absolutely.
He's a blessing to us all.
You know what? You bring up a good point. If you weren't born, Ken, I wouldn't have a producer.
See?
All right.
So my birthday is his benefit.
So listen, Dr. Tobler, I'm so confused on something that I hope you can help us out with. A woman got the flu, and somehow she lost her arms and her legs, or her hands and her feet, or something. What kind of flu does that?
My guess is something happened, and she either had a cardiovascular event or some, lack of oxygen flow or blockage, or maybe got septic with a bacterial infection on top of influenza.
Wow.
But the average, run-of-the-mill influenza course is not going to do that. But, we lose, 30 to 60,000 people a year to influenza. So it's a significant problem. And usually that's because people are debilitated to begin with. They have cardiovascular or kidney or, respiratory problems to begin with. And then, it just one thing leads to another, and you have multi-system failure. And so it's tragic when it happens, though. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Ken, you're right. She lost her legs below her knees and her arms at the elbows.
Wow.
So I just want to read a little bit of this, if you don't mind, Dr. Tobler, because it's so devastating, right? For most people, getting the flu means a few days of sickness and then a return to regular life. Kristen Fox is her name, 42 years old. She lives in Ohio. She a few days before the COVID pandemic shut down the world, she was positive for the flu. The physician's assistant gave her Tamiflu. You familiar with that? Tamiflu?
I've had that.
Is that good stuff? Is that good?
Yeah, it's standard therapy. It helps reduce the severity and the length of the problem if you get on it early.
Yeah, it helped me before.
Her blood pressure and oxygen levels became dangerously low. Within 30 minutes, I was on a ventilator, and they said I probably wouldn't make it. Wow. Then you were right. You're right. Bacterial pneumonia. So bacterial is a virus, not a virus, infection, right?
Yeah, well, bacteria are the kind of thing that cause little pimples and abscesses, and you don't get those kind of things from viruses, right? So bacteria are the things that antibiotics work against. Yeah.
So, I'm sure your advice is to get a flu shot every year, right?
It is. Yep. Yep. No doubt about it. And I am having to do a lot of re-education about the difference between standard tested disease risk reducing vaccines, like flu and shingles, and pneumonia. The pneumonia vaccine does the same. I mean, that really has, several different, it elicits antibodies against several different, things bacteria that cause bacterial pneumonia. And those are totally different platforms, standard platforms. They've been around for decades that those things are built on. But a lot of folks, I think, are sort of confusing the problems, and boy, were there problems with the COVID-19 platform, the mRNA platforms, and these vaccines. And I'm afraid we're going to, at some point, really pay a price for that misdirection, in people's thinking about this.
Well, Doctor, I think one of the problems there in particular is that there was a lot of promotion of possibly combining the flu shot along with this mRNA vaccine. See, I won't get that anymore. I just won't. That's just my personal preference. Yeah. But I've always gotten a flu shot, and that's because isn't it of more of a natural type of, process?
Well, it's an inactivated virus, so it's not an infectious particle, and it's not telling your body to create infectious particles. It's just presenting it with a defective virus, if you will, that creates an antibody response, an immune response that's active against the real McCoy.
Yeah.
And that's how those work.
So I'm going to say something, and I don't know how you're going to react, but, I want your honest opinion. I've never had a flu shot and subsequently have never had the flu. So why upset that apple cart is what I'm thinking.
You're just playing the odds. That's okay. I mean, you're playing the odds. Most people don't get the flu in an average flu season, particularly when they're aware of, maybe it's going around the community. They do certain things to avoid, social gatherings or, obviously the usual precautions with hand washing and, just common sense stuff like that makes a big difference. But you're playing the odds. I mean, because eventually you probably get exposed to it and may get the flu. But, most people, like you said, the vast, vast majority of people that get the influenza or any viral illness for that matter, fight it off. But once in a while, there's just the perfect storm of an extra good dose of the virus, because dose matters. I mean, it's different if you're in a 20 by 20 room and someone with the early influenza that isn't symptomatic yet or minimally symptomatic just has a tickle in their throat that morning and a little muscle ache, one of those things. They cough. You're going to get exposed to a lot, and your immune system is going to get challenged with a lot lower number of soldiers in the army, if you will, coming over the hill, than if you're in a crowded elevator and someone's got a temperature of 102 and raging influenza and they cough. That's a totally different exposure level.
Yeah.
So all these things, plus your natural immunity. Look, we all have a non-specific immunity. And I think it's probably all that tomato sauce and garlic.
I agree.
Tomato sauce and garlic.
I completely agree. And the wine, the red wine.
Oh, yeah, there you go. But no, and it's true that we do have different levels of a non-specific immunity that is sort of the first line of defense. I think of it like the perimeter defense, the perimeter. When you have a ADT system or one of those Simply Safe systems, you got the perimeter, and then you got the inside motion detectors. Those ones are a little more specific in a specific room, and the perimeter are sort of the non-specific defenses that we have. So those are good. Whether you stick yourself with a splinter, or whether it's a virus that gets into your nasal passage, it's still recognized as a foreigner, and we just have non-specific. Not that foreigner, but any foreigner we fight against. But then it takes a while to build up that defense that's a specific one against that particular culprit. And those are where we have the problems. That's where COVID was a big problem, because it really suppressed our initial response to the COVID virus. It actually suppressed that specific immune response. And by the time people caught up with that, it overshot, and it was the response that was causing a lot of the carnage in people's lungs. So it was a wicked virus for that reason.
All right, I do want to move on to another topic, but I just have two more garlic things to say. One is, if garlic wasn't good for you, they wouldn't put it in a box and sell it at the drugstore, right?
No, it actually is. It actually is good for you. It actually, anything in that family, garlic, onions, I believe leeks are in that family. Anything like that are good because they actually have antiviral and they have antimicrobial process or properties. So it's good for you to do that. Plus, no one gets near you anyway to cough on you.
Yeah,
you got all the garlic smell going on.
My aunts always used to say it gets you a seat on the bus. I never knew what that meant because you smell like garlic, Gavone. That's why. All right, let's move on. Terrible story, Dr. Tobler. There's a nurse in Ohio. Her name was Tristan Smith, and she committed suicide, and she left a letter behind about her abuser. And in the letter, she said, "I so desperately want to continue to help people, but I cannot stay in this abusive relationship." Her abuser was the United States healthcare system.
Yep. Well, it doesn't surprise me. Look, suicides and depression, anxiety, all of the things that I think all of us suffer from at one time or another to some degree have really been on the march, even before COVID. But the healthcare system is, I believe, the way it's structured currently, it's an unethical and immoral business model to take care of human beings. I hear it all the time. I have patients come in and they're like, why was that nurse? I used to 10 years ago when that surgeon did surgery on me, and now I need something else done. And man, the nurse just isn't the same. She's flipped. She's, short with me, and the doctor doesn't spend time with me. And I said, look, it's not the doctor or the nurse. It's the system. It's killing us. I mean, it's just, and I know that sounds self-serving and it sounds, whiny and victim-y, but everyone realizes that the government, the regulators, the insurance companies have gone to the point where there is so much distraction and so much noise that takes caregivers at all levels, doctors, nurses, PAs, NPs, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, takes them away from the business they should be about. And that's as much as I think everyone's doing a reasonable job of checking the boxes like, oh, you've got high cholesterol, you need this, you've got this. I just took a little time out for our interview here to spend time with a guy that hadn't seen a doctor in several years, and I heard some things and talked to him on exam and took a history, and we did some testing. The guy's got really high risk for a cardiovascular event in the next 5 to 10 years. And that takes time then. I'm going to go back when we're done here to talk to him for another half an hour or so to try to inspire him to change his lifestyle, take his Lipitor, manage his blood pressure, stop smoking, reduce all those risks because I don't want the guy to have a heart attack or stroke. We don't have the time to do that. It's only the model that I and others are doing now that are allowing that. But that's time sensitive, and no one pays for time in our system anymore. They pay for procedures. They pay for filling out the computer thing. They pay for justifying what you need to do. I went ape on the air the other day. I had a patient who needed a lidocaine patch, a little local anesthetic patch, because she's got terrible spinal degenerative disease, and something pinched a nerve, and I mean, she could hardly walk and breathe, and it was just terrible to witness. And we prescribed a simple little lidocaine patch that you can get 30 of them for $35 with Good RX.
Right.
And I spent an hour on the phone, Vic and Ken, arguing with an insurance company about how that wasn't a covered benefit because she didn't fit in one of their little notches,
Right.
And I mean, I went ballistic. There was potty mouth and everything, and I'm embarrassed about that, but that's how frustrated people are. And some people get frustrated and angry and vent, and I'm lucky I can do that, and I got the radio, I can talk. That poor nurse didn't vent. She was trapped. She needs to feed her family, and she needs to jump through the hoops and check the boxes.
Yeah.
We've got to change the system, brother. We've got to change the system.
That's the thing is the nurses, I mean, okay, granted, I'm biased. I'm married to a nurse, but let me tell you, my wife knows her stuff, okay? And when she was on the floor, a doctor would say, well, Jess, what do you think? You know what I mean? But did you ever see those memes where it's all the machines that somebody's on plugged into this and goes, can anybody else be able to figure out how this thing works? No, nurses do. And I think nurses really do the brunt of the work and emotionally involved in their patients. There's another article that says half of nurses in this country are not fully engaged at work.
Yep, that's because, it's called burnout popularly, but there's more and more articles written by brain people, mind people, psychologists, psychiatrists, that really call this moral injury. And they really liken it to people, to soldiers in battle. When you have to, peek over the hill and shoot another human being, that hurts, even if they're, quote, the enemy, right? And so there's a certain sense of, why am I involved in something that's so bad? I mean, war is not good. And in a similar way, people in the healthcare business are a part of something that they know is rotten, it's stinky, and they can't change it. It's sort of like our political system. You go and cast your vote, and there's 20 others being stuffed in a ballot from some, filled out on behalf of demented people in a nursing home, right? And you're like, what can I do about it? That's why we have mass depression in this country. That's why psychoactive drugs, and legal and illegal, are absolutely exponentially on the rise in this country. When you don't have control and something is terribly wrong, that is just a terrible psychological situation. And that's what our medical system healthcare providers are going through right now.
Exponentially.
Lost in the mix.
Go ahead, Ken.
You said exponentially. I have exponentially on my mind whenever you say that. Dr. Tobler, my doctor, when you were explaining about the frustrations and anxieties of the doctors and nurses, it flashed me back to my doctor. I've been with him since 1995, and I really love the guy. But he used to just sit there with me. We would talk. I actually went to his house one time and sent him a cake because he was such a nice guy. He doesn't have time for that anymore. I can't even. I have to apply for an appointment with him within 6 months. And when I get there, if I'm with the practitioner and I see him running by, I know that he's just constantly running around. And so I understand all that. It's something.
I was up till 11 o'clock last night, and I don't have a lot of patients in our model that we do right now. But I was up till 10:30, 11 o'clock doing very detailed sort of road-mappy kind of notes on the visits I'd had that day, initial visits. And because I want to make sure that whether it's me, a month or 3 from now, or whether it's another doctor that I refer someone to, I want to know exactly everything that was going on with that patient, everything. And if they're compulsive, and the business tends to, the profession, and not just doctors, I'm talking about anyone giving care, tends to select for compulsive people. You just have this disconnect between, man, like I'm literally killing myself here, and I'm killing my family and my relationship, but I got to do the right thing because I have an obligation to a patient. And then here's the big question. Do you think that it's appropriate for government types and insurance people, and now venture capital is getting into the business of medicine? It's unbelievable what's going on. Do you know what they talk about in terms of the visit and the interaction between people and how it gets measured? That word productivity is one of the most popular. What's the productivity of that unit? What's the productivity of that doctor? What's their productivity? So they've tried to turn the relationship between patients and doctors and their caregivers and patients into how many patients can you see in how little time and how much can you bill for that? And let's make sure that those numbers are right. And if we happen to treat people good in the meantime, that's okay. But first and foremost, and this is where capitalism without morals is a problem. And I really think it's, again, I can relate it to our larger political system. When you have capitalism and you don't have a moral construct and a foundation to rein it in and to properly, sort of limit the excesses that can result, that's what's happening in medicine right now.
All right, final point, and then we got to go. But I think that, because you brought up insurance companies, and that's absolutely a factor, and now you just brought up the capitalism versus moral. The doctors right now are being urged to by the healthcare companies to get the patients in and out, right? And I know you got a new model we used to call concierge practice or whatever.
Yeah, right.
You get more time with your doctor, but it's not the doctor; it's the company telling them, "Let's go, let's go." It's almost like a restaurant. Let's go, move these tables. We need turnaround.
Like baseball with cutting the clock.
Yeah, more patients, more money, and they lose that consultation time with a doctor, and it's not the doctor's fault, is what I'd like to say.
And remember, at the same time, everyone's really worried because the expenses keep going up with all the regulatory compliance issues. And the plaintiffs bar, the malpractice lawyers, they love what's going on because things are slipping through the cracks. They just simply are slipping through the cracks. And it's a great opportunity for them to rein in some bucks.
We've come a long way from doctors doing house calls. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, 6 to 9, the great Dr. Randy Tobler. Thank you so much, sir.
Always fun.
Thanks, Dr. Tobler.
There's a lot of factors here, Ken. It's, you know what I mean? It's not just the insurance companies. It's the healthcare companies themselves.
Yeah.
Saying, let's go, in and out,
And like he said, who's more productive? If there's a hospital seeking a doctor and there are like 5 candidates. Well, what are their production levels?
Right.
That's
not
terrible.
Not how good of a doctor are they? You're right, Ken. You're right.
No.
You're right. All right, enough of that.
I'm no doctor.
I don't. How long till we land? I can't tell. You can tell me. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. We will talk to Drew Thomas Allen coming up at 10:41. I have no idea what we're doing next, but we'll do something fun, I promise. On 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Our very own Senator Josh Hawley. Would that be women? So, Ken, Guess who called the house Saturday?
Who?
Goober.
Nah.
Yes, he did.
A goober attack.
We got a goober attack at the house. Goober called and started asking about our roof. And my wife, God love her, she said, you know what? If I need to find out about my roof, I'll just call Connor Roofing, okay? I don't need you, Goober, to ask me about my roof. So I bring that up because Kathy and Rob Connor, the owners and operators of Connor Roofing, and that's key right there, owner and operator, okay? They're so close to the business that if you get any work done by Connor Roofing, they're going to call you and they're going to say, hey, how'd we do? And then you give them an honest answer. And damn it, I meant to get it ready. I looked up their Google reviews.
Yeah.
Stellar reviews on Google for Connor Roofing.
Awesome.
So if you need a roof or if you just want an honest estimate, you know you'll get quality work and great customer service. Again, it's not even a fair enough thing to say. They're more than customer service. They want to have a great relationship with you. So if you're a senior citizen or a veteran, you get discounts for that. They have emergency storm repairs and no goobers. ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
This Dr. Randy Tobler segment is brought to you by Advanced Dentistry Now. Doctors Dan Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bath and Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bath and Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bath and Renovation, 314-477-6476. 314-477-6476. Give us a call.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
I'm Dr. Bob Onder. What happened on Election Day in Ohio on the pro-abortion Amendment 1? Why did voters in Ohio, a state that's trending increasingly more conservative, put in their constitution an almost unlimited right to abortion, including partial birth abortion, abortion on minors without parental notification, and public funding for abortion? Are voters in Ohio really that pro-abortion? No, unfortunately, the vote on Amendment 1 was a perfect storm of several factors. First, a very liberal initiative petition process like the one in Missouri, where progressive special interests could come to the state and amend the Constitution with a simple majority vote. Second, very deceptive and pro-abortion ballot language, similar to the ballot language written by the Missouri Court of Appeals. And third, some key strategic mistakes by the Ohio Pro-Life Coalition. Unfortunately, some of these same factors are at play in Missouri. Pro-life Missourians will need all hands on deck to defeat the culture of death in 2024. And don't sign any so-called reproductive rights petitions. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. Free speech is alive and well in America.
So what's going on?
Right here.
To me, this looks like the run-up to World War II.
News Talk STL.
They're playing with fire. Democrats are destroying the country.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
I'm gonna grab a bite to eat. You want like a sandwich or something?
What kind of sandwich ain't too fattening?
I have a sandwich.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
They label us anti-Israel. They label us anti-Semitic, and they label us terrorists. They lie about us and they smear us. But we know the truth, and the truth stands. We are rabbis. We are pastors. We are Congress members. We are surviving family members. We are human beings, and we are bound by our faith to demand a ceasefire now.
Who are you to demand a ceasefire from a country that is surrounded by enemies and our ally? Don't you demand anything. That was Representative Cori Bush. I guess you realized that as soon as she started talking. And you're not a rabbi, by the way. So, you know, Ken, here's the thing, okay? She is now officially, I guess, a member of the squad. They adopted her into their squadness, right?
Yeah.
So she watches. 'Cause, you know, what makes somebody like Cori Bush say something like what you just heard? She watches the other ones, right? She watches Ilhan Omar. Okay, yeah. She said, wow, she said that? Okay. She watches Rashida Tlaib. Oh, wow. Oh, that's weird. And then AOC and Ayanna Presley and even Jamal Bowman now.
Yeah, he's in there now.
Right?
Yeah.
So she just feels like she can say anything. Like, we demand a ceasefire. Can I tell you something? If Israel pauses and ceases firing, Hamas is not going to abide by that. They're going to look at it as a boxer bringing his hands down, and that's the time to punch him in the face.
Exactly that. And what they'll also do, and this is documented, that they would actually regroup. They would grab all of the monies and the things that they're giving to the people of Palestine and taking it for themselves, the fuel. They're going to refuel everything. They're going to get ready to reattack. Mm-hmm. They're not going to let them do that.
And what about the people who have relatives who are still being held hostage? Nobody cares about that anymore? I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever I hear this on social media, I'm like, well, why don't they release the hostages? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No, just simply release the hostages first. Release the hostages first, and then let's talk about some kind of ceasefire.
Yep.
But you're not releasing the hostages. In fact, Vic, I'm afraid some of those hostages are going to be dead.
Are already dead.
Yeah, are already dead.
So, again, I urge anyone who's listening right now, whether you are a conservative, which would make total sense for listening to a show like this, or if you happen to be a liberal who just, wandered onto the show, I implore you to vote for Wesley Bell if you're in that district, if you're in the 1st Congressional District, and primary out Cori Bush, because I got to tell you, Jews, she doesn't like you. She hates you, as a matter of fact, and she's not going to stick up for you or vote for anything that benefits you just because you're Jewish.
No.
Damn it.
That's it.
So Dinesh D'Souza, okay, first of all, Dinesh D'Souza made the 2000 Mules movie, which I thought, because now, isn't it funny, Ken? Now this ballot stuffing thing is a thing again. Wanda,
yeah.
Who Wanda is?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden is a thing. Well, what the hell? We said that from the beginning, you and I, And so Dinesh D'Souza made 2000 Mules. Bill Barr laughs about it because he thought it was so ridiculous. Now, what does Bill Barr think now about this Wanda story, about the ballot stuffing thing? What does he think about it now?
Yeah.
Go back and watch the whole thing, not just the trailer. I believe in my heart, Ken, he spoke at the January 6th committee hearing without seeing the entire film, just watching the trailer. I swear to God, I believe that.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
So Dinesh D'Souza was on the cutting edge there. Now he's got a new one called Police State, which, by the way, our very own Dan Bongino, big part of that movie.
Yeah.
And he's sitting here talking to a Muslim cleric. So let's hear a little bit of that.
To list, I would only vote left.
Why is that?
I saw them as very stupid. I would fear
Stop.
the conservatives.
Stop and play that again. Listen to what he's saying. This is a Muslim cleric who says they cater to the left. Why? Because they're stupid. Play it again.
To list, I would only vote left.
Why is that?
I saw them as very stupid.
There you go.
Very malleable.
Yeah. Impressionable.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would fear the conservatives because they come with principle. That's not someone they can brainwash. But the left, I know they have no values and no principles to begin with. I dare you to find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. They'd give their vote to the leftist who wants to run around in pride parades. And Islamic extremists are against gays and homosexuals and transgenders, but they want the left to go and get busy with that. They want them, go speak about the climate, go speak about abortion, go kill yourselves, go do that.
Wow.
So
Ken.
Vic, all these people that we see at these climate parades, these abortion parades, all these different trans parades, all these different things, you've got people in the background saying, yeah, you get out there and really mess it up, ruffle it up a little bit, because we are using you as a tool. Pawns. Just know that every time you see somebody in that parade, you're thinking, you're a tool for the left. Yep. That's all you are.
So when you see, okay, I can't be the only one who sometimes has to speak with someone who doesn't understand the situation and hears the Free Palestine chant and goes along with it. Ask them, who do you okay, a gay person, who do you think, what country or what region do you think would give you more freedom for being gay? Gaza and the Palestinians, or Israel? They'll say Palestine because they don't know that they'll kill you if you're gay.
Yeah.
What region gives you the right to rape your... Well, here's a question. Who do you think says it's okay to rape your wife? Hamas or the Taliban? It's Hamas.
Yeah.
You would answer Taliban right away, right?
Right.
It's Hamas. They don't understand what is happening, these kids.
And we've never brought this up, but I've been reading about it lately. The child trafficking within that community.
No doubt.
It is horrible because it's completely accepted, and it's actually an interpretation of the Quran to actually do things to little boys. And I got to tell you, Vic, this is the most disgusting thing that I've ever read, ever in my life. And I don't want to repeat it on the air, but you need to check this out. If you're worried about child trafficking and children being raped and molested, read about what's happening over in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Palestine.
It's okay. So what does that tell you? It's so bad. Ken doesn't even want to say what it is.
I don't.
That's how bad it is.
It's terrible.
Ken, we don't normally do this, but can you take us out with number 11?
Yeah.
Because I need something in my head to go into break with, something smart, something reasonable, something common sense. Drew Thomas Allen is coming up next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
And we're going to make America great again, greater than ever before. That's what's going to happen. And job number one is to make America safe again. For 4 straight years under the Trump administration, I kept America safe. I kept Israel safe. I kept Ukraine safe. And I kept the world safe. Israel, Ukraine would have never happened under the Trump administration. There was no chance it would have happened. Those two events alone would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened, It was caused by stupid people on energy policy.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Just mentioned the Columbo special when you book a cleaning in November, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res because they're simply the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home, and they stand behind every cleaning with their gotta love it guarantee. Just remember to mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peter's. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at IGotFloored.com.
You want to give a unique gift this holiday? I suggest Stolac Whiskey, produced in Missouri. Stolac Whiskey, born of natural limestone filtered water from the Ozark Highlands, aged in Missouri oak. Stolac, so smooth. Trust me, you're going to enjoy it. So next time, ask for Stolac. Visit the website, stolac.com. Stolac, Stowloch, from Stone Ledge Distillery.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Fox News commentary.
New York Mayor Eric Adams is being investigated just weeks after criticizing Biden's open border. Coincidence? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Ashley Banfield and Chris Cuomo on America's fastest-growing cable news network, News Nation.
The viewer seems to have been lost in the shuffle of cable news lately. They don't want a team sport. They want the full picture.
The appetite is greater than it has ever been for perspective, for understanding, and for information that they can not just trust, but use.
See why more people are turning to News Nation, news for all America. To find News Nation on your screen, go to joinnn.com.
In the politics, there are no coincidences. Just weeks after New York City Mayor Eric Adams vocally called out the Biden administration over the open border policies plaguing his city, now he's being investigated by the FBI. Convenient timing. Mayor Adams had his phones and iPads seized by the FBI as part of their corruption investigation involving campaign fundraising. His chief fundraiser's brownstone was raided by the FBI as part of the agency probe into whether the campaign worked with the Turkish government to receive illegal campaign contributions. I'm glad the FBI is suddenly so invested in getting to the bottom of kickbacks paid to politicians. It seems like interesting timing for Biden's FBI to start poking around the New York City mayor shortly after he started turning up the heat on Biden's border crisis. Could this be not so subtle intimidation, a thinly veiled warning to Adams to go along and get along? I'm Tommy Lahren.
Columbo and Katie.
One presidential candidate drops out, another one doubles down as some of our local races start to heat up as well. We'll discuss it all on Tuesday. Plus, we'll talk to Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com at 2:20.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Missouri Broadcasters Association Air Talent of the Year. This is the Vic Porcelli Show.
And Ken's birthday. Whatever. Ramsey Lewis Trio right there, in with the in crowd. God love that. Welcome home to 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. So things happen You know, and as I learn things as I'm going along here, I need some help sometimes. And we go to find the smartest guys we can find, smartest people we can find. And you know what? The guy who is not Italian but speaks fluent Italian is just that guy.
Drew Allen of the Drew Allen Show podcast.
It's people who love this country and respect freedom and want to preserve it for the future. You know, it really shouldn't be political.
Amico mio, come stai?
Ciao, buongiorno Ciccio, sono molto contento.
Yeah, you bet. È un piacere parlare con te. It is Drew Thomas Allen. Good morning. How are you?
Buongiorno, Vika Heads.
Oh, he sounds like he's right here in the studio.
I know.
Fantastic. So you can use that every week. It sounds like you're right here. Is that cool with you?
I got the Rush Limbaugh mic going now. Let's do it.
Love that.
All right.
And half his brain tied behind his back just to make it
style.
fair.
Mine's not gold. Mine's not gold.
You'll get there, baby. You'll get there. You will get there. All right. So, Drew, I'm learning as I go here, okay? So this code of conduct that the Supreme Court all signed, all 9 of them, what is that about, and why do they have to sign a code of conduct?
Well, I hate that they did it personally. It's really not the end of the world, but they did it because they kind of caved. They tried to mollify, if you will, leftist pressure, who was carrying out these intense propaganda campaigns to accuse Clarence Thomas and other originalists who actually do their jobs and rule based on the Constitution. Remember, they've been attacked forever. They were trying to accuse Clarence Thomas of being corrupt, and they're trying to destroy the Supreme Court justices who won't rubber stamp left-wing policies. And one of the things they were saying is you guys are violating codes of conduct, you know, you're corrupt, whatever else. And one of the criticisms was that they didn't have a formal code of conduct, I guess. So they created a code of conduct because, look, Clarence Thomas and these people are truly wonderful human beings. They're obviously doing Lord's work, but what I was trying to say, like, they're not fit for this time in the sense that they abide by this moral standard that used to define Americans in many ways, and in office, this respect for Supreme Court justices or presidents and so on and so forth, but all that's out the window. So they're still living in this time where the Supreme Court, and in their mind, they are these Americans that are wonderful people, and they're being attacked by this corrupt political system. So this isn't going to do anything for them, really. I mean, now they can. My problem with this is that it kind of legitimizes the criticisms that were falsely made against them. So the left says you guys are violating laws, but and they're saying, well, this isn't in a code of conduct. We didn't do anything wrong. They're saying, okay, well, now we're going to create a code of conduct. Okay, so for the left, now they're like, well, see, we told you they were corrupt. They just didn't have a code of conduct. Now they have a code of conduct. We're going to hold them accountable. And also, it's a violation of the separation of powers. It's not the legislative body's business to oversee the Supreme Court, the judicial branch. And this is the overarching problem, too. But it's really sick. The Democrats hate this country, and they hate our institutions.
So, just curious, just a little curiosity in me. So if we find out that Sonia Sotomayor or somebody in her office, a clerk or something, was responsible for leaking the Dobbs decision, then where does this code of conduct fit in then?
Well, I'm sure they would say, well, this happened before the
Right.
code of conduct, so
Right.
it's grandfathered in. That's an interesting thing you bring up. I think that it was probably a Supreme Court justice actually that leaked it, because there's no reason that we wouldn't know who the leaker was. They could try and track down the person who ostensibly leaked the manifesto of the trans killer in Nashville. They get on that right away. But when it comes to this, which is a huge problem, you do not have leaks from the Supreme Court. They just are not interested in uncovering it.
And they won't. So I don't know if you saw they found the picture of the cocaine at the White House. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's in a locker, and it's the only thing in that locker. The only thing in that locker is that bag of cocaine. Really? Like, it's like, oh, yeah, let me make sure all my stuff is great in my locker here. Okay, well, it's just a bag of cocaine. So I don't even think that picture's real, Drew.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and if it is real, I mean, Hunter obviously got in there and cleared out the crack pipe, so he removed the stash of cocaine.
Exactly right. So, all right, Israel-Palestine. Let's talk Israel-Palestine a little bit, okay? We have this complete idiot who represents the 1st District of St. Louis. Her name is Cori Bush. I'm sure you've heard of her. And she gets to speak now because she's a member of the squad. She gets to speak inaccuracies and falsehoods. And, I mean, can you play that for him? Can you play the Cori? Well, you got to hear this, Drew. I swear to God. It's number 6, Ken. She's talking about how we're labeling her. Are you ready for this?
They label us anti-Israel. They label us anti-Semitic, and they label us terrorists. They lie about us and they smear us. But we know the truth, and the truth stands. We are rabbis. We are pastors. We are Congress members. We are surviving family members. We are human beings, and we are bound by our faith to demand a ceasefire now.
So what do you think?
Why do they always, and this includes Hillary Clinton, why do they always try to pretend like they're, in some black megachurch?
You're right.
They're all pastors.
And I know black pastors and the good ones, not a lot of these pastors today that are secularists and, run their churches like the devil. But, it's like the imitation. It's such a joke. I mean, just talk.
Yep.
We are pastors, and it's like, there was one MLK Jr. You're not him, okay?
Yeah. You're not him. You never will be him. And not to mention, Drew, she talks all the time about why she went to go run for Congress, because she wants to save black lives, save black babies. Do you have any idea how many black lives are lost in the streets of this hole of a city?
Yeah, look, we can do this on this show. I won't get you in trouble. Don't worry. Okay. Look, there were black slave owners. I mean, I think people forget this. In the southern states, there were blacks who owned slaves. How could that be? Well, it's no different in the Democrat Party. They claim they're for blacks, but just because you're a black Democrat, I mean, you're no different than the black who had slaves in the past. You're doing nothing for your black community. We saw this under Obama. We see this with these people. In fact, all the Democrat policies do is harm the black community. I mean, the black community would have made such great progress but for the Democrat Party.
Yep, you're right. Sorry, my back hurts. I just had to move the wrong direction there. So the House shelved impeaching Mayorkas, and 8 Republicans voted not to impeach Mayorkas. We can't get our act together, Drew, and if we don't get it together, we're going to lose this country.
We're going to lose the country, and the Republican Party, people aren't going to vote for him anymore. So we're not even going to have an instrument to bring about political change because fed-up Americans are not going to vote for Republicans anymore. And I talked about this in my podcast. This is why it's fresh in my memory. But what we need to find out, I'm worried about the speaker. I really am. He doesn't seem any better than McCarthy at this point. To be honest, that's my opinion right now after watching everything. But think about this. My antennae went up early on because remember, McCarthy went through 15 rounds and finally got enough votes. He got, just enough to win the speaker. And all the Republicans, when it came to voting for Jim Jordan, who all of us in the base supported, which of course the rhinos stabbed us in the back and wouldn't give him to us, they said no, but then they held a private meeting in which, I think 20 of them publicly said no to Jim Jordan. But behind closed doors in a secret ballot, 112 said no. Who are the 112? See, these are the names we need to know, not the 20 that came out publicly. There are 112 Republicans who are anti-American, who voted against Jim Jordan, but didn't want us to know who they were. We need their names so we can vote them out of office. Secondarily, when I get to the current speaker, Mike Johnson, how is it that Mike Johnson won unanimously, effectively? He got more votes for speaker than McCarthy. So you mean to tell me these same Republicans who wouldn't vote for Jim Jordan because he was too conservative, they all would back Mike Johnson? So that was a little alarming. But now I see Mike Johnson. It's not all his fault because he doesn't have people who will follow him necessarily. But I'm going to tell everyone a little secret. And it's like the Rush Limbaugh thing, turn up the speakers, lean in. Okay, I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to whisper it. The Republicans don't want to impeach Joe Biden. They don't want to do it. That's the secret.
Wow. That's good stuff, Drew.
Why don't they?
So, go ahead. Answer that question. Why don't they?
Well, they're cowards. And they're really not looking at it like we are. They don't care about morality. They don't care about doing the right thing. They don't care that he's a traitor. They don't care about any of it. They don't want to do it because they're afraid of what will be said about them. Now, the Democrats, of course, impeached Donald Trump twice. This is before the indictments now. They impeached Donald Trump twice on non-crimes and made-up allegations. Now, we have even the border. Remember the border. The border alone, what Joe Biden's done is an impeachable offense.
Yeah.
So we won't even impeach him over real things. Now, it's the same situation as when Trump was in there. It didn't stop the Democrats because we had the Senate, so they weren't going to get a guilty verdict. Neither will we, but we won't go forward with it. And now you're seeing the polling out there. The polling is saying that Donald Trump is going to trounce Biden in the swing states. So now these Republicans are using that as an excuse. Well, we don't even need to impeach him now because look, we're doing fine in the polls.
Right. And like they cared about Donald Trump before that. So here's the thing, Drew. Republicans in Congress, they're just not good at narratives, right? The Democrats are good. And they're saying that if Donald Trump is elected, we're going to lose this country. This country will not be the same country, and democracy will be dead and all this crap. And what the real truth is that if they continue down the path that they're on, that's how we're going to lose this country and lose democracy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a chapter in my book that's the real threat to democracy, and it's the Democrats, and they've been spinning this narrative, telling this narrative that democracy is going to end with Donald Trump because of him. They've been saying it since before he was even elected president. So they didn't even have any evidence to build that on. They don't need evidence. They just create fake facts later to back it up. So now we have a distraction again, and this is a response to those polls. Look, the Democrats aren't ready to pull the trigger and get Biden out of there. They're trying to figure out how to deal with that mess. They still would prefer to just win with Joe Biden if they can. So now this is it. They're pushing this narrative again. Not only that Trump is Hitler, Trump is anti-Semitic. It's the same trite stuff we've heard, since Trump was elected president and before, but now they're really pushing the narrative that he's going to end democracy when, of course, it's the Democrats who are trying to end the republic right now.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's Drew Allen, and he's got a brand new book out there you need to get. It's called America's Last Stand. Will you vote to save our democracy in America in 2024? Drew Thomas Allen, always love having you on the show. We'll talk again on this cool thing that you're using here, so we sound really good next week. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.
That's got to be a great book. It's got to be a great book.
Yeah, I want to get it. I'm getting it. I'm going to read right through it, man.
Okay. Thanks for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Are we going to continue to use that after he's gone?
Yeah.
Oh, we are?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. That's my boss right there, Ken Williams. Dan Bongino is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. See you tomorrow.
We'll use this too.
Whoosh.
Are you looking for an awesome space to have an incredible event this season, this holiday season, or just for any reason whatsoever? Your one-stop shop is View 17. That's VUE17.com, VUE17.com. Ultra-modern media conference and event center. You can have just about any event you can dream up there. It's on the 17th floor in the heart of the county of St. Louis. Check them out today. You will be impressed, and so will your guests. VUE17.com, View17.com.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show. Don't let going to the office become a grind unless it's a gourmet grind from DiscountCoffee.com. Enjoy coffee house blends that can't be found in stores. And don't be fooled by coffee services that lock you into paying more over time. DiscountCoffee.com has the very same coffee brands and supplies for less shipped directly to your door. Plus, save 15% off your order with the promo code RightMind. That's DiscountCoffee.com.
Seavers JCB in St. Peters carries a full line of JCB construction equipment to get the job done safer, faster, and better. JCB compact and large excavators are designed to excel where it matters most: comfort, controllability, reliability, serviceability, and performance. Seavers JCB also stocks a large assortment of attachments for smooth and seamless productivity. Check out all JCB has to offer at Seavers JCB in St. Peters and in select Seavers equipment locations in Illinois or at SeaversJCB.com.
Dealing with storm damage? Don't panic. Eureka Contracting and Roofing is here to help. With the recent storms, they understand it can be overwhelming. Remember, you don't have to rush into signing with the first door-to-door salesman. Don't let pushy sales tactics force you into a contract you're not comfortable with. Before making decisions, take a moment. Give the folks at Eureka Contracting and Roofing a call like I did for a no-pressure inspection. They'll assess the damage, determine if it's insurable. If it is, they'll guide you through the insurance process, and your only out-of-pocket expense will be your deductible. Eureka Contracting and Roofing, 636-938-ROOF, EurekaContracting.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. As the war in the Middle East rages on between Israel and Hamas terrorists, a major rally taking place today at the National Mall in support of Israel.
The Jewish community of America, frankly, the Jewish community of the world, is extraordinarily vulnerable and frightened.
Rabbi David Callender of Congregation Olam Tikva in Fairfax, Virginia.
The importance of this rally is for us to draw strength and comfort in knowing that we can not only be strong together, but also cry together as well.
And what about calls for a ceasefire?
The problem is that everyone wants to see this as two sides, the Israelis and the Palestinians, and it's not. There's a third vector in here, which is Hamas, which is just pure evil.
I'm Shelley Adler.
Also at townhall.com, the U.S. government runs out of money at midnight Friday, and there will be a partial shutdown unless new funding is approved. The House is expected to vote today on a stopgap package to keep the government running into the new year.
If the measure is approved by the House, the Senate would then act ahead of Friday's shutdown deadline. But the bill is unlikely to win enough support from the House Republican majority, and new Speaker Mike Johnson will have to rely on Democrats to ensure passage. Critics call Johnson's proposal a bizarre two-part process that temporarily funds some federal agencies to January 19th and others to February 2nd, and it comes without any of the deep cuts conservatives are demanding. Donna Porter, Washington.
Inflation slowed last month. Compared with a year ago, consumer prices rose 3.2% in October. That's down from 3.7% in September. Stocks are sharply higher. The Dow up 492 points. More at townhall.com.
If you're trading or thinking about trading in the stock market, listen up. Last year, a staggering number of Americans were forced to take out withdrawals from their savings. Worse than the dot-com bubble, housing meltdown, or pandemic crash. Those could all feel like a blip compared to what some Wall Street analysts expect may be coming as soon as December. We're calling it the market tsunami, and it could wipe out billions of dollars in the markets. Vantage Point's AI analyzes billions of data points in seconds, so you get highly accurate predicted market conditions in advance. Text the word money to 813-813 now to learn more in a free online class. Text MONEY to 813-813. Text the word money to 813-813. Trading involves financial risk, is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers or info by or on behalf of Vantage Point. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text the word money to 813-813.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Cool mornings and pleasant afternoons. That's the pattern through Thursday before a cold front brings us our next chance of rain and knocks these temps down just a little bit. Mostly sunny today, though, up to 66 for a nice afternoon high. Winds turning out of the south. Tonight, clear, cool, down to 40 in the city, but 30s in the burbs. Wednesday likely to be the warmest day of the week, up to about 71 tomorrow afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the Newstalk STL app in the App Store or at NewstalkSTL.com. News, analysis, opinion. Newstalk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Oh, man, I'm so annoyed. I can't even tell you. The little things. He says they're first world problems. So I'm taking a shower after the workout, right? And, you know, in case you're thinking this is too much information, there's never too much information on this show because, you know, I just share everything with you guys. Good, bad, indifferent. I don't care. Like, you got to know everything, whether you want to or not. Desk is all messed up, too. So I get out of the shower, and I grab a new towel, you know, because that's the right thing to do. You know, and I use an old one. And I'm drying myself off with it. And he must have washed the towel with some kind of blanket or something like that. And I got fuzzies all over. They will not come off. They're like in my face, my ears, my eyes, the whole podcast. If you were watching me in a podcast and you just flipped over to the radio show, which I always hope you do. Did you see me like rubbing my head, scratching my eyes? I got to take another shower after the shower to get these freaking fuzzies on me. They are all over me. Jim, watch it. Look. Look at this. You see fuzzies everywhere on my, look. Fuzzies. This is making me crazy. I need like a big lint roller, like a body lint roller. I got to like a car wash lint roller, like rollers on both sides.
This TMI moment is brought to you by Dan Bongino.
We need a sponsor for these, don't you think? We should be sponsored by some of these TMI moments. This TMI moment brought to you by JoeyBagOfDonuts.org. So first, thank you for everyone who bought those T-shirts yesterday. Our website, store.bongino.com. We brought the Cutesy Time is Over shirts are available for pre-order, and the Don't Get Dead shirt is back. So yesterday, this is crazy. You know, if you sell like 100 T-shirts in a day, that's a lot. So yesterday, we sold 1,776 T-shirts between Don't Get Dead and Cutesy Time is Over. Think about that. We sold 1,776. I'm not messing with you. If you you all are so awesome, man. If you doubt me, I put a screenshot from Paula's phone. The guy sent it over because you're never going to believe this. You thought you'd sell 100. You sold 1,776. He goes, you see a pattern here? So maybe there's some intervention, but all that goes to charity. So if you want one, store.bongino.com. totally your call. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bongino rule was in full effect with this Secret Service story. Some of you were asking me why I didn't address the shooting incident with the Secret Service, where a couple of agents, one of them fired a weapon at a carjacking in Washington, D.C., and the answer is because of the Bongino rule. I prefer to give these stories some time when we don't know the details. I mean, not that I won't talk about them. Sometimes the Bongino rule is misinterpreted to mean, don't discuss a story, but that's not what it means at all. What it means is just don't draw any conclusions, because what winds up happening is the conclusions you're going to draw are based on false, air quotes, facts, because everything you hear is going to change. So that's why I say with everyone, chill with these stories. So yesterday I didn't address it. I let the story ride, but a bunch of people emailed me, Dan, you got to comment on this, man. You were a Secret Service guy yourself. This is right up your alley. So I did a little homework, let's say, some investigations out there, okay? And the gist of the story is this. It's late at night. These agents, they're protecting Naomi Biden, who is Joe Biden's granddaughter. The family has a detail, of course. And these are what we call small details. I'm not going to give away the numbers, of course, but they're not presidential-style details, obviously. And if you read the story, a couple things will jump out to you, too. But which I'm not going to share on the air because I don't want to give any bad guys any ideas. But if you read the story, unfortunately, you'll get some. And apparently they see that car being broken into. It's their car. And next thing you know, there's some shots fired on behalf of the agents fire a couple rounds. Now, I thought this story was unusual because little inside baseball. And, Jim, if this story's boring, tell me because I don't want to make this mistake. He didn't like the story. I wasn't crazy about it. I moved on quick in the podcast. But a little inside baseball about how the Secret Service trains. Because we have, obviously, firearms and we're near the president, it is drilled into our heads that you are responsible for every round. Because if you shoot a round near the boss, the president, and you miss and hit a member of the staff or the president himself, obviously you've caused an international global incident. So whereas all law enforcement trains their responsibility for the rounds, we are extra sensitive about it. What I'm getting at is guys in the Secret Service on the protection operations, I've never heard of a story of someone firing their handgun or one of her MP5s or something like that. I've never heard that during a protection detail because you have the sensitivity of protectees being around. So the fact that this happened on a protection assignment, I had some questions. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a ton of answers, but I do have one I'm relatively confident in. I thought at first, I said, well, the protectee had to be there. In other words, the granddaughter had to be there and they had to be protecting her somehow. Maybe it was a carjacking. Maybe they went after her they thought she was the car owner. That apparently is not the case. She was not in the car at the time this thing happened. So you have to ask yourself, if they're responsible for every round, they very rarely shoot on a protection assignment, which they very rarely do. And the Secret Service generally will not ever fire their weapons in protection of property. That's extremely rare. Then what the hell happened? And I'm guessing here, folks, but it's one of a couple things. Maybe someone pulled out a firearm first, or maybe some kind of furtive movement was made. I was talking with my friend Kyle from the FBI, one of the whistleblowers, and if you believe you're in danger of serious physical injury or death, you can fire back. But the story is strange. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring it yesterday. I know full well the story was out there, but I just found it very suspicious, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think the details were very cryptic about why they would fire weapons in defense of property. But someone could have made some kind of furtive movement, and that's probably what happened. Furtive meaning reached inside a waistband. And you got to remember, these Secret Service guys aren't in uniform, folks. So just put yourself in the role of someone trying to steal a car. It's midnight. You don't see anyone around, right? And all of a sudden you turn to your left and some guy, you don't know who the hell he is, goes, hey, stop stealing my car. And you got a gun on you. You're going to make a move. You don't know he's a cop or an agent. These guys weren't in uniform. They weren't, from what I know, they weren't uniform division guys. So let's hold on that story before we jump to any conclusions. However, another Secret Service story. I think we can start to draw some conclusions on. You remember the cocaine story Oh, boy, a lot of people remember the cocaine story. Cocaine found in a White House cubby. And, Jim, do you remember when I said, ladies and gents, I did me another investigation here. And I got some friends of friends of friends of friends who told me about some other friends who told me about some friends who said that I don't think this cocaine was left there by accident. Wait, what? What do you mean? How's that? That cocaine in the White House may have been left there on purpose for a member of the Biden family who, by the way, may not be Hunter Biden to pick up. And, of course, the left-wing media responded how? You remember, Jim? It's a conspiracy. Now I know it. When I hear that, I know it's a conspiracy. Matter of fact, I was even more suspicious about that being a member of the Biden family's drop-off cocaine when I heard this. Jim, let's do this a little out of order. If you would, cut to, this is Karine Jean-Pierre, who erupted when it was even suggested that the cocaine may have been left behind for members of the Biden family, some of whom have a known problem with the cocaine. The cocaine. Check this out.
As you know, and media outlets reported this, the Biden family was not here. They were not here. They were at Camp David. They were not here Friday. They were not here Saturday. They were not here Sunday. They were not even here Monday. They came back on Tuesday. So to ask that question is actually incredibly irresponsible. And I'll just leave it there.
Yes, you will leave it there because you didn't really have much more to add because I think you know exactly what happened. Folks, I have zero doubt they know whose cocaine that was. Zero. I'm going to explain to you why. But Karine Jean-Pierre's explanation there makes my friend of friend of friend of friend of friends theory about it being a drop-off even more plausible, doesn't it? Well, they weren't there. Of course they weren't there. It was a drop-off. Hey, we'll be back on Monday. Want to leave me the coke? Yeah, we left it in cubbyhole number 50. Jim's laughing, but that's how a drop-off works. Because you wouldn't have to drop it off if the Biden family member who was looking for the coke was there. You would just take the coke. Folks, pictures emerged of the baggie. It's in a Daily Mail article. It's in my newsletter today, bongino.com/newsletter. The Daily Mail got a hold of the actual pictures of the cubbyhole where the cocaine was found. Cocaine. I am going to beat Jim to the punch. I think he was going to play that as a line because I know Jim. He already had that in mind, so sorry, guy. I already beat you there. Ladies and gentlemen, the pictures are pretty dispositive here. I know I'm right now. It is, of course, a plastic baggie. Now, the Secret Service and the FBI both have very advanced fingerprint labs. Folks, without boring you with the details, too many details, I taught in a law enforcement academy. I've been through the Cadet Academy, the NYPD Academy, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, the Secret Service Training Center, and I was an instructor there. I don't say this to impress you because nobody cares. I tell you this because I've only taken the fingerprint course like 22,000 times. Fingerprints are very simple to understand. It's basically oils and debris that everybody has on their fingers. And the ridges on your fingers comprised of loops, arches, and whorls, and they have deltas in them, right? Those ridges will deposit oils on a surface. The oil deposits will be irregular because they're being left behind by ridges on your fingers. Your fingers are not flat. I'm sorry to be so stupid, but there are liberals listening who are too dumb to understand this. That's what a fingerprint is. It is a ridged oil deposit in an irregular pattern, unique to you, left behind on a surface. Why does a porous versus a non-porous surface matter? A non-porous substance would be something plastic, rubbery, some kind of thick rubbers. You got to be careful with that, especially with the Bidens. I don't know how thick rubbers they need, but you get the point. Maybe Hunter, given where he's been, needs extra thick. Some forms of metal are non-porous. What is a porous substance? A porous substance like cardboard, paper, woods without like a shellac on it. So what's the difference, folks? I promise this is as a point here. The difference is, as you put your fingerprint or your palm print down on a porous substance like paper, the oil sinks into the paper. Therefore, it's harder to lift the ridges off because they're not as pronounced because the oil sinks into the paper. You ever put potato chips in a paper bag? What do you get? You get a big oil stain in it. You put a potato chip on a plastic surface, there's no oil stain. The oil comes right off. You wipe it right off. It sits on the top. Fingerprints are no different. Look at the picture in the Daily Mail article. It is obviously a plastic bag, which is non-porous, meaning there is zero doubt there was probably a fingerprint on there. Even worse, if you look at the picture of the cubby has a keyhole for a small key. I know that cubby. I've seen it. I know exactly where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, to get the key out of the keyhole, to turn the key or to put it in your pocket and put it back, you would have to use your finger and your thumb on a metal key, which is also relatively non-porous, which would leave behind a fingerprint. Why couldn't anyone find a fingerprint? I think they did. All right, I got more on this. I got so much to tell you about this story. Please don't go anywhere. I'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Bongino. Hi, it's Larry Elder, and I want to talk to you about 100% drug-free Relief Factor. I've been telling you about it for years on radio and television. Why? Because I believe in it. I use it. My friends use it, and hundreds of thousands of others out there have tried it. About 70% of those people go on to order more. They find that Relief Factor works to help their bodies fight inflammation and eliminate their pain. Take Mark in Texas, for example. He'd been dealing with pain in his right shoulder for months, almost constantly, when he decided to give Relief Factor a try. Within 2 weeks of taking it every day, the pain in his shoulder faded away and completely disappeared. There are so many people out there whose experiences with Relief Factor are just like Mark's. What about you? Might your pain be the next to go away with Relief Factor? Your first step to becoming pain-free just might be to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Just go to ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference.
Dan Bongino.
Like any good conservative, we have our principles and our values.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world,
I don't even know how conservatives can even take their head out of the ground long enough to complain about anything.
They're trying to call us conservatives Nazis.
I think they ought to be ashamed.
it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
All we want is freedom and liberties and less government. I'm not a Democrat, a Republican, or I'm an American.
Welcome home.
Because everyone gets a voice.
This is News Talk STL.
News and information.
Welcome home.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
I want to share something special with you. I've told you how Wellington Environmental works to keep hospitals, schools, businesses safe for their patients, students, clients, employees. Wellington can do the same for you. Perfect example. A relative went to the basement, almost knocked over by the smell. A sewer line had broken. A call to Wellington, a crew was dispatched. First thing, make the home safe. Then clean up the mess. Truly clean it up. Now, I'm telling you this because I want the best for you. Wellington Environmental. Here's the number, 314-644-4930. 644-4930. AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. 644-4930. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now.
Wide open.
Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s New Country streaming now. The latest news.
Mike Johnson is someone who can unify the conference.
We're going to get to work in a very serious way.
A resolution censuring Representative Rashida Tlaib for anti-Semitic activity.
The news you need to know.
We cannot give up on peace.
Another morning marked by death and destruction in Gaza City.
The terrorists will not win.
And the place to talk about it.
It's the topics that matter to me.
Right here. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Here before you know it, if you're looking for a really special gift this year, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Order a free holiday gift guide at henryusa.com and get free decals you can use for stocking stuffers. Folks, when you give someone a Henry rifle or shotgun, I have many of these, you're giving them a work of art built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen. They are rugged. I've thrown mine in the back of trucks. This thing takes a beating. Their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate right out of the box, smooth and straight. They've been reliable ever since. With over 200 models of rifles, shotguns, and revolvers to choose from, there's something for everyone at Henry Repeating Arms. Folks, just get the catalog. They have rifles and shotguns for outdoorsmen, hunters, beginners, collectors, specialty editions. You're looking for home and land defense options. These are rugged family heirlooms that can be passed down to future generations, backed by a lifetime warranty. Put something made in America. It's rugged under the tree this Christmas. Go to henryusa.com and get your free gift guide and decals today. It's free. Just go to the website, henryusa.com. Get a free gift guide and decals. You're going to love this company.
He's a man with a very particular set of skills. Skills he acquired over a very long period. He will find you, and you will listen. The Dan Bongino Show.
So yes, some of you are asking me during the on the Facebook page during the break with messages. So what you're suggesting is they likely know who this person was who left the cocaine at the White House? Yes, of course they know. Folks, they've probably narrowed it down. They say they narrowed it down to 500 people. I don't believe that. They probably narrowed it down to about 50 people. Out of those 500 people, there are people, I guarantee you it isn't. I'll give you just a quick example. You're doing a criminal case, right, for a drug deal, right? And you've got a lineup of 1,000 randomly selected people. Folks, I've seen a lot in law enforcement, but most of it you're playing probabilities. You really think the 96-year-old grandma who hasn't left her apartment and is on dialysis was dealing coke? You can eliminate them right away. I can guarantee you it's about 50 people. All they would have to do is marry up that fingerprint and ask those 50 people to submit a sample if they don't already have it, which they probably do. They absolutely know who this is. So why won't they tell us? Because here's what's going to happen. The minute you get a name, conservative media is going to go find that person and is going to interview that person, and law enforcement's going to be pressured into interviewing that person, and that person is likely going to give up the fact that the coke wasn't for them, but the coke was for someone else, if you know what I mean. Let me ask you a simple question. If you managed to somehow get cocaine in the White House, which I think happened because it was a family member's, who had a staffer go and escort that person in. And therefore, they didn't empty their pockets, or they just did kind of a magnetometer quickie search. Or maybe they had escort privileges and got them in there. But if you got cocaine in the White House, say this was an innocent mistake. You were on a West Wing tour, which I doubt. If you got it in, why wouldn't you just take it out? Why would you leave it behind in a cubby? Oh, no, I would just wipe the fingerprints off of it. Oh, yeah? That cubby hole's in front of a desk and a uniform division officer. You don't think they're going to think it's suspicious? You wiping down a white baggie of stuff in front of them? Come on, man.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. Not only is it open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also a time you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, switching to MediShare saves about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. But what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the member satisfaction rate compared to health insurance. Double. MediShare is a proven thing, too. For over 30 years, it's a Christian community of more than 400,000 members. And here's the thing, too. If you join before November 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, you'll get another $150 savings. So I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline's November 30th. So call now and you'll save even more. Here's the number, 844-53-BIBLE. That's 844-53-BIBLE, 844-53-BIBLE.
Dan Bongino.
Are you?
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Tens of thousands of people have gathered on the National Mall in D.C. for a march for Israel. Christians and Jews joining forces, standing up in support of Israel. Inflation in the United States slowed last month in a sign that the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes are continuing to cool the consumer price spikes that have bedeviled consumers for the past 2 years now. The Labor Department reporting prices either fell or rose only slowly across a broad range of goods and services, including gas, new and used cars, hotel rooms, and housing. Overall, inflation was unchanged from September to October. On Wall Street, the Dow had 459 points, and the Nasdaq adding 282 points. This is SRN News.
If you're trading or thinking about trading in the stock market, listen up. Last year, a staggering number of Americans were forced to take out withdrawals from their savings. Worse than the dot-com bubble, housing meltdown, or pandemic crash. Those could all feel like a blip compared to what some Wall Street analysts expect may be coming as soon as December. Some are calling it the market tsunami, and it could wipe out billions of dollars in the markets. Vantage Point's AI analyzes billions of data points in seconds, so you get highly accurate predicted market conditions in advance. Text the word money to 813-813 now to learn more in a free online class. Text MONEY to 813-813. Text the word money to 813-813. Trading involves financial risk, is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers or info by or on behalf of Vantage Point. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text the word money to 813.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Moved here from Indianapolis. Decided to find a conservative talk show.
Live and local.
It's the Kim Gardner question. Yeah. Is this just incompetence or is there malice behind this?
This is News Talk STL.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
This is Diana with Newstalk's Fine Jewelry. This year we're celebrating 50 years in business. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives for over half a century. It's because of you that our small family business thrives in St. Louis. From our family to yours, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newstalk's Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newstalk's, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at WowDiamonds.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday. We'll talk with David Stokes from the Show Me Institute on last Tuesday's elections, and Tim and I will take your phone calls.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Be heard. Call 844-4-the-USA now to let Dan know what you think. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
The president and the first lady and their family were not here this weekend, as you all reported on this, and as you also know that they left on Friday and returned just yesterday. Where this was discovered is a heavily traveled area where many White House, West Wing, I should be even more specific, West Wing visitors come through this particular area. I just don't have anything more to share. It is under investigation. So to ask that question is actually incredibly irresponsible, and I'll just leave it there.
Jim, do you notice how I knew not to talk? You didn't even say anything. Jim, you know how because I just know Jim. We spend 3 hours a day together. I see this guy more than I see my wife sometimes. I see Jim more than I see one of my kids. He's in college. I just knew. I'm like, he's going to do so. I don't even say anything. I'm like, yes, do your thing, whatever. Okay. Folks, this is like the easiest whodunit in human history. Let's see. We've got a guy living in the White House who's got a known cocaine problem. We found cocaine in the White House with the guy with the known cocaine problem with other family members who also... That seems kind of strange. And the media's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. If that was Donald Trump and they found coke in the White House, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Donald Trump, Eric, Lara Trump, Donald, Melania, Barron, the dog, the cat, the hamster would all be interrogated right now in an FBI polygraph and the DEA agents as to, whose cocaine it was. But they're like, you got a guy with a known cocaine issue in the White House where they found cocaine. I don't know. It was like other kids. Jeff Ruck here says on Ruck, that's an R for the FCC folks. I get a little worried. But it is Tuesday, and it's okay on Tuesday. That's what I was told. So, it's not. No, it's still a no, even on Tuesday. Jeff says perfect choice on Facebook. Yeah, I know. Jim's good at that. Folks, this was obviously a drop-off, okay? This was not a mistake, and I can prove it to you, okay? Just imagine you're on a White House tour. I want you to, I know this area well. I worked there for 5 years. It's a pretty long time to stick around the White House. The West Wing area where this was found is not heavily trafficked. What's heavily trafficked is the East Wing on a tour where there are literally lines of people. Now, if you're on Pennsylvania Avenue, and you're looking at the White House, the mansion is the East. That's the East Wing. The mansion, the president, and the family live upstairs. Downstairs, is a public area. Well, I don't mean public like the public gets in. I mean public that a lot of people will traffic that and go back and forth between what they call carpet, the chefs, the White House chef. Carpet is these folks that basically get the president's clothes, right, and all this other stuff. They call them carpet. I honestly, I don't know why. I don't even really care. I never asked. But there's a ton of people there. The West Wing is actually not that crowded. A lot of people work over there, but it's small. The West Wing on the weekends, where this is alleged to have been dropped off, is a ghost town. Anyone who works in the West Wing telling you otherwise is freaking lying to you. I was there for 5 years. That's BS. If during the weekends when the president's not there, the Secret Service shift isn't there either. What, the Secret Service abandons the White House? No. The uniform division guys protect the White House. The agents go with the president. They don't protect the White House, the agents. They protect the president. I know no one's expecting you to know this. It's inside baseball, but it's relevant to this story because the agents aren't there either. So the staff isn't there. They're with the president. The Secret Service agents aren't there. They're with the president. Carpet's not there. They're with the president. So who's there? UD, Uniform Division of the Secret Service, which is a separate division. They're obviously the guys in uniform. They protect the mansion and the house and the West Wing. And a couple of staffers, that's it. There's nobody there. What I'm getting at is that entrance where there are people, there's going to be someone from the military and someone from the Secret Service right there. That entrance, folks, when someone dropped that cubby, say 500 people came in 3 hours. The people who use the cubbies are probably 10% of that. Because the 500 people that came in, you can automatically eliminate 100 who are probably uniform division or Secret Service. Or get them out. So now you're down to 400. The other 100 are probably hard-pinned staffers who are doing some extra work on the weekend throughout a course of 2 hours, coming in and out, whatever. It's not them. They're not using the cubbies, folks. You're going to have video there. It's probably 10% of those people. They know who did this. And it's not the rank and file guys either. You know, I have an obligation to tell you guys the truth. I mean, yesterday after that dreadful vote on the impeachment of Mayorkas, where it failed because 9 Republicans refused to go along with an impeachment of the worst cabinet secretary we've ever had, Alejandro Mayorkas. I heard a bunch of people going, you screwed the Republican Party. No, folks, listen, I'm no fan of the Republican Party. I think that's fairly obvious. I mean, if you listen to the show and you don't know that, you don't listen to the show. But it's 9 people. The rest of the party voted to get rid of this guy. So, yes, there are 9 Republicans, but those 9 people should be the subject of your anger and your outrage, not the rest of them. The rest of them did the right thing. I say that because it applies to the Secret Service, too. Those guys weren't even there. There are a few people at the top who are clearly influenced by Joe Biden. This new director, I don't know what's going on with that. If she's buddy-buddy with the Bidens or what. But there is 0 chance that the lab did not pull a fingerprint off this thing. 0. Folks, there's a key to that locker. How the hell did they open a locker without touching the key? The key's a tiny little thing. You ever been to like Action Park back in the day when you lost your skin on the Alpine slide? Remember they used to have the cubbies? The little keys? They weren't big monster keys like skeleton keys from a Sherlock Holmes show. They're these little tiny keys. Why do I bring that up? Because, folks, if it was a big skeleton key, you could grab it with your palm and turn it. These are tiny little keys, meaning you have to grab them with your fingerprints, with those little small muscles, with your fingertips, I mean, which leaves what? Yes, prints. There's no way they don't know who this is. They're afraid that they're going to reveal the name. Conservative media is going to show up at the house, pressure law enforcement, and law enforcement then is going to have to get this guy to admit that he was dropping it off for probably a Biden family member. This is a disgrace. I'm begging the management at the upper level of the Secret Service. I was there. I was there longer than some of you guys. I mean, long ago. I don't mean now, but you obviously spent more time there. I did 12 years, but I was there probably before some of you. Do the right thing, man. This is a great agency. Don't destroy it like they destroyed the FBI, please. Here, I want you to listen to this. Here's a Republican member of Congress, Pat Fallon. This is a while back on Martha McCallum, saying exactly what I told you. Look at these photos and tell me they did not get a fingerprint swipe off this thing. I'm going to tell you you're crazy. Take a listen to this.
So, now we're hearing that you all aren't going to get any information on this investigation until later in the month. If the cocaine was found on a bag, doesn't it have fingerprints on it? And how long would it take to answer that question? Weeks? Days? Hours? Half an hour?
That's just, Martha, that's a great question because I asked several down in Texas. I asked some of our state troopers, Texas Rangers and sheriffs, those kind of people who do this for a living for decades. And they all said to me that on very porous surfaces like bags and envelopes, you'll be able to determine within an hour if there's fingerprints on it. Within an hour. By my math, we're 192 hours from the time it was discovered, and yet we don't know because if there was no fingerprints, they could have told us immediately. So I suspect there are fingerprints, and you can run it through a database, and this was found where high-level aides and staffers are, so most of them were fingerprinted at one time or another, so they very well may already know who it belongs to and aren't sharing it with us, and that's my greatest concern and worry.
It's just really insane when you think about it, that every single thing the liberal goon media accused Donald Trump of doing? Everything. Oh, he's disgraced the White House. His family did all this. It's been done by the Bidens and not Trump. Donald Trump's going to be a police state fascist. Every single thing the left has accused Donald Trump of doing, they have done themselves. The fact that they still defend this, when they know full well that the likely culprit here is probably a Biden family member, is just embarrassing. You know damn well if this happened in the Trump administration, every single day they'd be asking them to take a polygraph or attest to the fact that they didn't order coke. There's no way that cocaine got in the White House without someone escorting that person in. No way. Folks, we need new leadership in our law enforcement intelligence entities. It has been a just dreadful last 6 years. And as someone who's been in the space with guys I work with who didn't give a damn if it was Obama, if it was Bush, or it was Clinton. I started under Clinton. I worked under 3 presidents, Clinton, Bush, and Obama. I call it the Democrat sandwich. The bread, and then Bush was in the middle. We did our jobs no matter what. We didn't ask the guy's party affiliation. We knew it. No one cared. You just did the job. The fact that law enforcement, from the FBI to now what appears to be at least the leadership of the Secret Service, not making the right decisions, but making the easy decisions, to kiss political asses, is really disgraceful. These are taxpayer-funded positions designed to keep the country and its political leaders safe. They're not political positions. You want to be an activist, do what I did. I had to leave. Now, Jim, I'm like, why the hell did I leave? I could have been a political activist in the Secret Service. Like, what's the point? I had to leave my job, walk away from a pension, healthcare. Oh, Dan, it worked out for you. No, it didn't. Not for a long time. Ran for office, had a hard time getting a job because I ran as a Republican in Maryland afterwards. It was hard. Missed mortgage payments. Couldn't even put braces on my daughter's teeth. We had no money. It's not a sob story, man. It's just, don't tell me that. I left my job because I knew I had partisan leanings. And I knew it wasn't appropriate for that. I didn't let it interfere with my job, but it was time to walk away. I say that because this isn't the only devastating story that emerged yesterday about a law enforcement entity in the federal government that's having significant problems with its actual duties. The FBI is back in the news again. Shockingly. Folks, the police state's already here. It's already here. It's not fully implemented, but we are almost there. If it was, this radio show wouldn't exist. The police state would shut it down. Unfortunately, I don't know how far we are away from that. This is crazy. I'm going to get to this story after the break, but I want to tee it up here. Kerry Pickett from the Washington Times has another explosive expose. I want to be clear. These are allegations, and the FBI refutes them strongly. However, I have to put that out there. I know Kerry Pickett a long time. She's an amazing reporter. And ladies and gentlemen, the FBI has just shredded their dignity with people. Nobody listens to the FBI anymore. After Spygate, the Russia hoax, the hitting up the pro-life people, the parents at the school board meetings, nobody trusts them anymore. The stories about the FBI being accused of targeting Trump types and agents who served in the military deemed disloyal. Again, another explosive expose showing that the police state, what we talked about in the movie, oh, it's here. More coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Regulated activities performed by a licensed affiliate.
I had no idea I can sell my life insurance policy.
Norman and Nancy Dugan for Coventry Direct.
We were about to let Norman's policy lapse because premiums have become expensive. Our kids are doing well on their own, so we just don't need it anymore.
Then Nancy called Coventry.
They were so helpful, answering all of our questions.
If you're over 65 and have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify.
After this past year, we're celebrating life. We've booked some long overdue travel, and we're able to pay for our grandkids' college.
Coventry Direct has helped thousands live the life they want to live, pay for unplanned medical expenses, or supplement retirement income. When it comes to selling your life insurance, Coventry's got you covered. Call 800-386-9978 or visit CoventryDirect.com to learn more about how you can get cash by selling your life insurance. 800-386-9978.
Dan Bongino.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Do I have a place for you folks as we head into these beautiful fall weather months? Espino's Mexican Grill. You can find them 24/7 at espinosmexicanbargrill.com, and you can find them 24/7, 365 at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, right in the heart of Chesterfield Valley, just off of Interstate 6440. Espino's Mexican Grill, nearly 2 decades in the business. I've been going there for years. They have a fantastic menu of authentic Mexican fare, not the typical stuff you get around town, and the coldest drinks around. Did I mention the margarita patio? That's what I call it, outside. Fantastic addition that Espino's put in several years ago. Espino's is a fresh alternative to the typical stuff you get. Once you go once, you'll be back many, many times. Check them out online, espinosmexicanbargrill.com, located at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. Best authentic Mexican fare and best coldest drinks around in town.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
I'm always glad to have new sponsors, but I have turned some down. See, I only endorse clients if I believe in them. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. Through those years, listeners said they went with John Beal because they trusted me. And just recently, a woman named Mary wrote, "We got a John Beal roof based on your recommendation." Thank you, Mary, and all the others for calling John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
Israel claims that Hamas no longer controls Gaza Strip, but the hunt continues for the Hamas terrorists.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
You can handle the truth. The Dan Bongino Show.
You know, the problem with politics and law enforcement, politics and not politics in, and the politics and law enforcement is, folks, I have been in both spaces, and I'm going to tell you something. Lord Acton was absolutely correct. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's never been a more potent truism than that. And what law enforcement and politics have in common is if you don't have people in there with decency and character, nobody's perfect, we're all sinners, I get that. But with a good amount of decency and character, they will be corrupted the fastest. I bring that up because this FBI story next is just, how many of these stories are we going to have to hear before somebody stands up in politics, at least on the Democrat side too, because they seem to love the corruption, and says, all right, enough's enough. Because it only seems to be Republicans who care about this right now. Folks, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Start by going to their website. It's henryusa.com. Order their free catalog. It'll come with the helpful holiday gift guide as well as free decals you can use for stocking stuffers. When you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art. I have a few of these built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen. I have the 44 carbine. I love it. The performance is top-notch, reliable right out of the box, straight and smooth shots. Mine is the most reliable rifle I've ever had. These things are rugged. Henry has over 200 models of rifles, shotguns, and revolvers to choose from. Something for everyone. Outdoorsmen, hunters, beginners, collectors, home and property defense. They're family heirlooms that can be passed down to future generations. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. You want to put something under the tree, made in America, this Christmas? Go to henryusa.com, get their free catalog and gift guide and decals today. That's henryusa.com. You're going to love this company.
Dan Bongino.
So this is what I'm talking about by the corrupting influence of power. When you're in politics, you can sign on to a bill that can wipe out 100,000 jobs in a heartbeat. You can sign on to a bill that'll criminalize a behavior and could put someone's life in jeopardy in jail. Politics, there's an enormous amount of power. In one of the races, I ran 3 times, didn't work out, thankfully. But in the second race, where people thought I had a decent shot of winning, you would be stunned how many people come out of the woodwork to kiss your ass. And the nice part about it is I'd already spent a decade in the Secret Service, so I was kind of immune to a lot of this stuff. But I can see how new members of Congress and politics and people who've never had basically real jobs, real responsible jobs, who find their first job in, say, law enforcement, and that's all they've ever known, and they make it up through the ranks, I can see how some of them become corrupted. We would call them, briefers, guys who never really worked cases, and they just briefed throughout their career, and they did good briefs, and they become these corrupted management bosses. This FBI story is devastating. Apparently, a whistleblower said that these 2 employees, a Jeff Veltri and a Dina Perkins, and again, these are allegations, so to be fair, thank you. You're the best, Paula. That they pursued employees, the FBI, who served in the Marine Corps or other military branches, stripped agents of security clearances and sidelined them on the jobs, pushing them towards the exits? What the hell is that about? Now, I'll say for the 3rd time, the FBI is strongly denying this story, but I'm allowed an opinion too. Given the FBI's history of strongly denying spying on Donald Trump and other stuff and that being fake, I got to tell you, I'm leaning towards this thing being true. It wasn't just that, though. I got more on this story after the break, but they weren't only, according to this story, and Kerry Pickett's a good reporter, targeting some people with military backgrounds, but they were targeting other people they believed were right-wing radicals. Here's the kick in the gonads, though. Wait till I tell you after the break about the signs that these people were allegedly using here to indicate that some of these employees were, quote, right-wing radicals. You think you're scratching your head about the Marines thing? This is even worse. If you can believe it. I got a loaded show today, a lot more to talk about. I got that. And ladies and gentlemen, get out of New York before it's too late. Something really bad happened there. I'll tell you what I mean coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home 1 or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
We all know the healthcare system's broken. It's not about you. It's about the code, the bill, the 7-minute appointment. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I've developed a better way that restores old-fashioned values with a holistic approach to your healthcare. That means affordable, available, no copay or deductible primary care. And with my 30-plus years as an OBGYN, there's added value for women and couples. Whether it's a new or nagging problem, you need a second look at a troubling diagnosis, or simply want a trusting, relationship-based healthcare experience, give us a look at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Our mission is to provide exceptional, accessible, and truly affordable care where the focus is on you, not insurance denial and cookbook medicine experts. And with your membership, there's a number of perks, including hundreds of free meds, in-office ultrasound, common diagnostic tests, and more. Interested in seeing me or learning more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule an appointment or a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Tens of thousands of people have gathered on the National Mall in D.C. for a March for Israel. Christians and Jews joining forces standing up in support of Israel. Former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Dr. Michael Oren, says Hamas presents an existential threat to Israel.
These jihadis, if they beat Israel, they're coming for you next, because they're going to understand that everybody's fair game. By the way, to the credit, the French and the British understand that.
Oren interviewed on the Salem Radio Network. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says Congress needs to resolve the budget debate and avoid a government shutdown.
A shutdown is something that poses an unnecessary economic headwind in a moment when the U.S. economy is doing well and moving in the right direction. So it's critical that House Republicans do their job and work in a bipartisan manner so we sustain this progress.
The deadline is Friday midnight. Also at townhall.com, President Biden will have face-to-face talks with China's Xi Jinping for the first time in a year. White House correspondent Greg Cluxton reports.
The meeting in Northern California is aimed at improving tense relations between the U.S. and China. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the best way to avoid conflict is through intense diplomacy.
That's how we clear up misperceptions and avoid surprises. That's how we work together where and when our interests overlap.
Sullivan says Mr. Biden believes there is no substitute for face-to-face diplomacy to manage the complex relationship between Washington and Beijing. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And on Wall Street, the Dow up 491 points, the NASDAQ adding 315 points. More at townhall.com.
No, you don't have to buy custom window treatments in person, because Blinds.com invented a better way. Blinds.com is 100% online, so there's no showroom markups or waiting hours for quotes from pushy salespeople. A Blinds.com designer helped me pick the perfect style for free.
Looking at your room, I think wovenwood would look amazing.
Oh, and Blinds.com shipped free samples right to my door. You can DIY or book a pro like I did with just one click.
All done.
I got exactly what I wanted. And best of all, everything's covered with the Blinds.com 100% satisfaction guarantee. I would have paid more to make it this easy, but with Blinds.com, I paid less. Way less.
There's a better way. Shop and save 40% site-wide plus doorbuster deals at Blinds.com's Black Friday Early Access Sale happening now. 40% off right now at Blinds.com. Blinds.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Last Friday, 4 members of the Israeli Defense Force were trying to catch Hamas terrorists inside one of their tunnels. It was booby-trapped. 4 Israeli soldiers were killed. At the funeral of one over the weekend, his father gave most of the eulogy for his son in Hebrew, but then he addressed President Biden in English. He said, "Mr. Biden, I'm taking the liberty of talking to you from Jerusalem. We have 2 things in common, me and you. Number 1, we were both born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The second we have in common, as of last Friday, I, like you, am a bereaved parent. I lost a son, you lost a son. So you know the sense of darkness, the stabbing of the heart, the longing to once again hug your boy, talk to him about life, his career. What I want to say right now is that he was fighting your fight, Mr. President. He was fighting our fight. I'm hearing rumors you're putting pressure on Israel to hold off, to cease the offensive. If those rumors are true, I hope they're not. I respectfully ask you here on my son's grave, cease and desist. Stand back, Mr. President. We must do what we must do to defeat evil.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Planning a party with family, friends, maybe a business party. Cafe Napoli has 4 locations, and each has rooms to fit your needs. But a word to the wise, book early. Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Cafe Napoli in Town and Country, Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, or right next door, Napoli C. Also get some Cafe Napoli gift cards, good for all locations, anytime. I'll see you at Cafe Napoli. Ackerman Toyota has the 2024 models. You're going to be impressed. Check them out in person at Ackerman Toyota, Hampton and Interstate 44. In fact, you've got to see the 2024 Toyota Sequoia. Very impressive. This is the time to buy and get top dollar for your vehicle. Looking for pre-owned? Ackerman Toyota can also help you. Ackerman Toyota at Hampton and 44. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life. The season of giving is your chance to give someone something really special, and Vincent's Jewelers can help. For instance, flexible bracelets starting at just $150. You should also know that Vincent's is big on giving, helping raise more than $1.5 million for local charities. Vincent's, locally owned, serving the community more than 42 years. Whenever I'm asked, what's your favorite jewelry store? My only answer, Vincent's on Olive, east of 270.
Columbo and Katie.
One presidential candidate drops out, another one doubles down as some of our local races start to heat up as well. We'll discuss it all on Tuesday. Plus, we'll talk to Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com at 2:20.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. This hour of the Dan Bongino Show brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit STLFenceworks.com.
I was covering it right before the break. And again, I'll say it again because the show is fair. I have very strong opinions about things, especially police state type activities, because I was a cop and I did not abuse my authority. And I don't understand why other people, if you're going to go in that space, can't control your inclination to do that. I know it happens, as Lord Acton said, power corrupts. I get it, but that doesn't mean I understand it. I never did it. Why can't you just do the right thing? So the story about the FBI potentially targeting members of the military, which again, they strongly deny. And I'm going to, Jim, is there any way you can do this? Do they have a PR branch? I guess you can read public relations or something. No, I'm serious. Can we reach out? I'd love to get a comment on this story from them. They'd like to come on the show. I'd love to hear it. There's this woman, Dina Perkins, and Jeffrey Veltri, who are accused by Kerry Pickett in the Washington Times, basically of targeting people who served in the Marine Corps or military branches. This is a serious charge. If the woman and the guy would like to come on, I'm happy to hear them out. I don't want this story to be true, but this is devastating. I mean, just think about this for a second. If even a shred of this is true, and I'll get into the article in more depth in a second. Imagine you're a young man or young woman. You sign up for the Marine Corps, the one of the toughest boot camps in the world. The Marines, who are at the forefront of any time the world is in conflict, the Marines go out there first. You got expeditionary units, you got reaction forces in the Marine Corps. They're there on the ground doing God's work to preserve freedom all over the world. These guys are badasses. To all the Marines in my audience, I tell you this with respect. don't take this the wrong way. I envy you. I really do. I don't envy a lot of people. I envy you. My greatest regret in my lifetime is not going in the Marine Corps because it's a different breed of human. It just is. When I was an instructor in our academy, in my last line of work, I always made the Marines the class presidents because they were always on time, looked sharp, and it was their example that kept everyone else in line. I didn't care if you were the CEO of a company. We had a guy in one of the Secret Service classes, went to the San Francisco office. He was a medical doctor. He was a nice guy, but I didn't pick him for class president. We picked the Marines. Because they were always 5-paragraph order types. Bang, bang, bang. You go in the Marine Corps, you find yourself in the FBI, and then you find yourself a target of your own government? This better not be true. That's why I'm saying, I know I read their generic statement where they denied this. But, Jim, if there's some kind of PR office, we would love to have them respond to this. You're welcome to come on the air and talk about it. That's a sincere offer. Please tell me this is because whistleblowers I know from the FBI who are good guys are telling me, Dan, there's a lot to this. The story gets even more infuriating. Other signs that an FBI employee was, quote, a right-wing radical and disloyal to the United States, according to Ms. Perkins and Mr. Veltri, were failure to wear a face mask? Wait, what? Put a face diaper on your face or you're disloyal to the United States? Like, well, what is this, North Korea? What are we saluting Kim Jong? Kim Jong, are we doing like the backward hand salute? Here's another sign. You were a right-wing radical or disloyal to the United States if you refused to take the COVID-19 vaccine. So you refused to take a relatively untested mRNA-based vaccine they had no longitudinal data on whatsoever. And that makes you a right-wing radical or disloyal to the United States. Folks, if this story is true, half true or a quarter true, then the next president, if it's Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, whoever it is on the Republican side, you damn well better engage in a house cleaning on day one. And I want a full investigation of this story. And if this is true, these people need to be held accountable. They should not be given a pass. Another sign you were a right-wing radical, participating in religious activities? The hell does that mean? Jim, you have that copy of the Constitution on your desk? Can you check? Is there an asterisk next to that first? You know, I think it was what is it? The amendment thingies, I think they're called. The rights bills, Bill of Rights. No, there's no. Oh, Jim says there's no asterisk for that establishment clause, the religion thingy. First, it's almost like it was a priority. But it's the First Amendment? Oh, I always get confused. It's called like the rights bill or something like that. Yeah. They note Ms. Perkins attempted to revoke the security clearance of an FBI employee she knew was a Marine veteran, but information showed the initial allegation against the employee was unfounded. This did not stop Ms. Perkins from ordering her investigators to canvass at least 10 police departments where the employee lived for any allegations of violations of law. What? TF? Over? Ms. Perkins, you're welcome on the show. I promise to give you a fair hearing. But I got to tell you something. This is some hardcore police state here. How do you know you live in a police state? How do you know? Well, I can tell you there's a pretty definitive sign. In a constitutional republic or a representative democracy of some form, you do not investigate people. You investigate crimes in search of people, correct? People tend to overcomplicate what a police state is. We did a whole movie on it, but we kept it simple. You investigate crimes in a constitutional republic, and then you go and look for the people who did those crimes. In a police state, you investigate people, and you go and look for crimes. Oh, Ms. Perkins attempted to revoke the security clearance of this employee and ordered her investigators to canvass 10 police departments where the employee lived for any allegations of violations of the law. Sounds like they're looking for a person in search of a crime, does it not? Folks, this has to stop. Let me tell you, one of the more kind of devastating moments of my life in this space, and I mean it, I'm not being hyperbolic or overly dramatic about it, is I was in an airport flying up to New York. I think I was doing the 5 or Fox and Friend, don't matter. But I'm in the airport and I get a call. And a friend of mine says, you're never going to believe this. He says, people in the Ukrainian embassy were watching your social media stuff, likely on government time, and monitoring your activity because you're exposing all this corruption going on in Ukraine that I was writing about in my last book. I said, no. They said, yeah, we're going to FOIA this and you're going to see it. And sure enough, they were right. Now, folks, the stuff they were watching was public. From what I know, at least, they didn't have access to my private emails and things like that, or the direct messages. But I got to tell you, it was pretty scary stuff. I don't mean frightened like I cowered like a little puppy. It's frightening in an anxiety-producing way that your government, simply because you exposed their corruption, is busy watching what you're tweeting about and not doing their actual government-assigned work. You're like, where the hell am I living? The Soviet Union? Now, in case you think it can't get any worse, the police state, ladies and gentlemen, it already has. You sensing a pattern, by the way, according to this story about who the FBI was allegedly targeting? Marines, people who didn't want to wear a face mask, people who were skeptical of the vaccine. You sensing how the FBI and the modern DEI military wants to go along to get along types, and if you're not one of them, they want you the hell out as soon as possible? There's nothing the police state likes more than to have compliancy. They want people to comply. I just made that word up. They want people to be compliant. It was like a mix of compliant and complacency. Forgive me. I hate when people make words up. They want people to be compliant and shut your pie holes. They don't want anybody asking any questions. Be compliant, sit down, shut your pie hole, and do what we tell you. Well, it does get worse. So I'm sitting there last night putting together the show, and this pops up on social media, and I'm like, this can't possibly be real. New York has had their smacked so many times on First Amendment violations trying to police social media that you would think they would back off. But here's the thing about communists and the police state. They never give up. They're into subjugation, which requires what? Subjects are you. I want you to listen to Kathy Hochul, the commie governor of New York, who now is threatening to police social media for hate speech, which means conservative speech. And not only is she doing it, she's bragging about it, going back to my assertion before. How do you know you're living in a police state? When they start looking for people and searching for the crime later. Listen to Kathy Hochul basically say exactly that with her new announcement about hate speech on social media. Check this out.
Also, we're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts. What's being said on social media platforms. And we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about on online platforms. Our media analysis, our social media analysis unit has ramped up its monitoring of sites to catch incitement to violence, direct threats to others. And all of this is in response to our desire, our strong commitment to ensure that not only do New Yorkers be safe, but they also feel safe. Because personal security is about everything for them. As I said, no one walking down the street or in a subway should feel they have to hide any indications of what their religious beliefs are. We expect to see people celebrating their lives, walking about freely, and that is no longer the case because people are living in fear. They have a right to do whatever they want here in the state of New York.
Yeah, you do, except posting on social media. Outside of that, everything's just peachy. Take a dump in the street, carjack, rob people, burn the city down, organize a violent BLM protest. That's all good. Carjack a few folks, engage in a home invasion, maybe a burg here and there, robbery, a little drug use on the subway. Take your thing out and kind of whatever you want to do in the subway in front of a bunch of ladies. Flash everyone. Sell fake watches in Times Square along with some drugs. That's all okay. But Kathy Hochul is busy policing social media searching for Republicans on social media and searching for crime. That's what she's doing. Make no mistake. When they say incitement of violence and hate speech, they mean conservative. They mean you, conservatives, 100%. Letitia James is in court yesterday, smiling like a clown. Look at me. I mean, you got the entire state burning to the ground, and the moron attorney general and the communist governor are policing social media for Republican speech and prosecuting them in the courts. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a police state in the actual sense. Get the hell out of New York as soon as you can. I am trying to help you. Get out. You are not safe there. This place is not going to get any better. You could have had Lee Zeldin. Instead, you've got an actual communist. Please get out of there before it's too late. I thought a long time ago we could save it. It is gone. It's gone. You can't save it anymore. It's got to save itself. And it's not going to save itself until the liberals that are left behind suffer from the outcomes of liberalism. We protect them from themselves. This is really, we've crossed that red line. All right, I got to take a break. I got more coming up after the break, including my cannibalism theory. A Democrat in Live Time discovers my Dan Bongino cannibalism theory right there. Jim covers it in his next book, by the way. It's pretty cool stuff. Stay tuned. Be right back.
Bongino.
When you call Consumer Cellular's customer support to discuss our affordable and flexible phone plans, it's like you're calling the Declaration of Independence or a hot dog at a baseball game. Because Consumer Cellular's customer support is based entirely in the United States. And Consumer Cellular's customer support agents are from where you're from, the same small town that you're from. The one that stretches from California to Maine, Minnesota to Corpus Christi, Texas. The one that cares about its neighbors and lights fireworks, legal ones, in the street. So the next time you want to make a phone call that feels like an American flag waving at an air show at magic hour, give us a call. Even if it's for no reason at all except to exchange barbecue sauce recipes like a couple of Americans. Or make jokes about Canadians. LOL, just kidding. We love Canadians. They're our neighbors. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Dan Bongino.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. That's 800-432-8150.
News, analysis, opinion.
When you systematically mislead the American people and lie to Congress and the American people, you're not doing your job and you should be removed.
This is News Talk STL.
Everyone should have, their rights protected as much as possible, and this freeborn human should have their right to life protected.
People are very angered and they feel betrayed by the Biden administration.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL and NewstalkSTL.com. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
There are things liberals say, then there is reality. Find out the difference here. The Dan Bongino Show.
Nothing better than when a plan comes to fruition. I've told you forever about the cannibalism theory of the left. How eventually Republicans are just starting to ignore the left. They are conservatives. I mean I don't mean establishment Republicans in D.C. I mean conservatives out there in America. We've been called racist and fascist and all this so many times. Everybody just ignores it now. When we see racism, we'll expose it. But we know when a liberal says it, it's politically motivated. It's nothing to do with actual racism. Point is, we ignore it. So the left enjoys the power of canceling people, but they can't cancel us anymore because we just don't care. We just stop listening. So eventually they're going to start turning their fire on each other and canceling each other because they enjoy the power of doing it. And there's nothing like seeing a Democrat wake up to this in live time. I'll tell you what I mean in a second. And Tibetan Plateau's back. So stay tuned. Stay frosty. The unthinkable's happening. It is. No more surprises. It's all out in the open. Our so-called trusted institutions tell you not to worry. Everything's going to be fine, but I think you know better than that. Don't allow yourself to get blindsided again. Join people like me and invest in emergency food storage today. Don't wait. Use My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company. I use them. Pick up their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. It has breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Lasts up to 5 delicious meals. Offer 2,000 calories a day. You just add water, didn't eat it, to have it, not need it, and to need it, and not have it. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. Get a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. Get one for every member of your family. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for power outages, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. Prepare for the emergency today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Dan Bongino.
Jim, do we have time for the Tibetan Plateau? Okay, play this, folks. More on the other side. Play this.
It was a reminder, at least for me, of what I've long believed, that America can be defined by a single word. I mean it sincerely. A single that I was asked by Xi Jinping years ago when we were in the Tibetan Plateau, could I define America? I said, yeah, one word.
Baby. He tells this story all the time about traveling 17,000 miles with Xi Jinping. The story's been debunked 1,000 times. It doesn't matter. The guy's a sociopathic liar. Whether he was on the Tibetan Plateau or not is irrelevant. The only reason I play this clip in the Tibetan Plateau, Jim, anytime you hear Tibetan Plateau, it's got to come on the show. Folks, I spent a lot of time in a lot of different careers. I've seen this pattern over and over. Some of you law enforcement guys are going to laugh, military, because you know this. There are people out there who are very insecure. And they like to talk in jargon because it makes them feel like they're part of a club because their lives are kind of empty. I'm serious. We had this one guy in a prior line of work, let's just say. All he wanted to talk about, he's like Joe Biden, was DevGru. If you know what DevGru is, if you know about SEAL teams and stuff, but it's a cool name, right? He would say this all the time in any conversation because it sounded cool. And he wanted that's Joe Biden with the Tibetan Plateau. Because it sounds cool, It doesn't matter if it's true or not. He says it all the time. Hey, Joe, what's on the schedule today? Well, coffee, like I had in the Tibetan Plateau. There's a great evil taking place in our society. Since 1973, over 64 million babies' lives have been taken. Preborn is dedicated